headed towards the Caribbean.
Fox's Evan Brown. Off-duty Delta pilots are picketing around the country again, still pushing for a new contract.
Labor Day weekend is about labor. We're organized labor. So timing this going into a holiday weekend where it's busy was essential. Captain
and union leader Jason Ambrosi says they've been working under a contract negotiated more than 6 years ago. America is listening to Fox News.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
When a nasty cold keeps you up all night, Vicks NyQuil Severe gives you powerful relief from your worst cold and flu symptoms, which changes a night that sounds like this into a night that sounds more like this. Ah, that's better. NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, stuffy head, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold, medicine. Use as directed.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's another good-looking Thursday of weather across St. Louis. Plenty of sunshine. What a nice start again. 88 will do it for the high this afternoon. Humidity levels still okay. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Evening temperatures dropping out of the 80s, but it's a slow drop. 65 for the overnight low. And Friday, partly to mostly sunny skies. 89, 90 for the high Friday. Same story on Saturday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's happening right here, right now.
The document we're now talking about, the redacted affidavit.
So this is the kind of picture we're getting. We're not getting all of the details here as an affidavit typically has.
Right here, right now.
Remember, they leaked out that Attorney General Merrick Garland didn't authorize this raid. That was a lie. They also leaked out that President Trump had nuclear documents. Well, there's no mention of nuclear documents on this affidavit.
97.1 FM Talk. Right here, right now.
The Closet Factory, online at closetfactory.com, is where you can get that magical touch of somebody who comes into your house and looks at your space. And when the Closet Factory came to my house, they said, do not pick everything up and make everything like guest ready. We'd like to see where your trouble areas are. It's probably in your garage. I know that we have that situation. Like we didn't ever have super great storage in our garage when we moved in. And so we've kind of organized it into a chaos that we understand. But if you came in there, you'd be like, where is anything? It might be that way for your basement entertainment space. Maybe it's where the grandkids play, or maybe it's where you've kind of converted a space into a bedroom for a kid when they come home from college. Why not have the Closet Factory come in and make it a space that you can show anybody anytime? It creates a space for everything that you have and want to utilize in an often multi-purpose space. And the Closet Factory can do that, customized to your needs. Call them at 314-961-4300, online at closetfactory.com.
The legendary arcade gun shows are this weekend at the St. Charles Convention Center. Bring your family, rain or shine, Saturday 9 to 5, Sunday 9 to 3. We have everything for the lovers of the right to bear arms. Arcade Gun Shows, proud supporters of the Second Amendment.
Right now is the perfect time to call Zero Res to deep clean and refresh your carpets, air ducts, upholstery, and more. Call 314-474-2020. Get the Mark Reardon special. 3 rooms, 0 resified, starting at $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. 474-2020.
The Dell Technologies Labor Day event is here. Start a season of productivity with up to 48% off Bostro laptops with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade by calling 877-ASK-DELL.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
The features you always dreamed of are here. We're talking about rewinding the radio. Listen on the Odyssey app and rewind whenever you'd like. Or catch up on entire shows within 24 hours of air.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right? You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy Thursday. We're glad you're here, folks. It is September, and let me be the first to say Merry Christmas to you. Is that painful to hear? Does that hurt you to hear that?
No.
Good, because that means
I like
that
Christmas.
you're not. Yeah, I know. I love that you said it that way, because the implication is, if that bothers you, that would mean one hates Christmas. Is that the case? Is that what you're trying to? Is that the point?
Yeah, you know what? Yes.
Yeah.
If you're not like eager to celebrate Christmas, you hate Christmas.
Yeah. Put your Grinch pants on.
Yeah.
September 1st.
Grinch don't wear pants though. So on second thought, don't do that.
What happens when they're cold?
I don't know. They put bigger shoes on.
September 1st. September. Why is it that the fact that it's one of the the Burr months that makes me feel like we've now entered a different time of the year? Does that make sense? October, November, December. September is the transitionary month between the good months. I love summer.
It's the burr at the end. You mentioned it. It makes you think of cold because burr.
Burr, yeah. I never thought of it that way. It's time to move from summer and poolside and cold drinks by the pool to cold drinks by the fire in your house. And we are transitioning. I'm excited for it, but I think that I have to lie to myself a lot about it before I actually become excited about it. I love all things fall. I went, Scooters is where I get my morning coffee for the most part. And unless there's like an extenuating circumstance, I talked to them, and I also looked on the app at Starbucks because the pumpkin spice lattes are out. I don't know that I've ever had a pumpkin spice latte. I don't know.
Never?
I don't think so.
I mean, I'm a man's man, and I still have had a pumpkin spice latte.
You're basic.
Yeah. I also like to wear navy blue vest with flannel shirts underneath,
Yeah.
and then boots that go up to, mid-thigh.
Okay. Do you wear pants?
I do.
You're not like a Grinch or something, are you? You just wear your thigh-high boots and your vest.
A long vest.
I wish you were Ryan Wiggins so bad right now. This is harder to go all in on you than it is on Ryan. I want that exact outfit on the show tomorrow. It's a Friday. I went to go get a pumpkin spice latte, and I don't want to have all that sugar in a morning coffee. Like, the morning coffee for me, if I don't have it, it's like a job hazard. Because if I'm on the air for 3 hours a day yawning, it ain't good. So I need to have the extra shot in the super skinny vanilla latte from Scooters, and it does the trick. But they don't. Why is there not sugar-free pumpkin spice syrup? Why is that not a thing?
I have no idea, because there absolutely should be, which is why I don't have one.
I think there's a market for it.
Yes.
I probably single-handedly, if it's delicious, could make the case that there's a market for it. I digress. So if you've gotten your pumpkin spice latte already, would love to know what you think about them, and tell me, is it worth it getting a small one just for the treat of it? Maybe someday, instead of getting a treat with my kids, I get a pumpkin spice latte earlier in the day. Right now it's the super skinny vanilla latte extra shot hot. That's how we get it. I'm watching. I'm going to credit Ben Shapiro, give credit where credit is due here, because I was scrolling through Instagram, which, yes, under strict orders from Hannah, I'm still trying to learn. And I was noticing, I was reading something from Ben Shapiro. This is something that he tweeted, and I saw it. He screenshot it, put it on his Instagram account. He said, the Republicans are losing steam in the 2022 election. There are some reasons for this, the Democratic upswing in the wake of Dobbs being the most obvious factor, but there's something else going on here that represents a deeper problem for the Republican Party. What would that thing be? And I think if we're being honest with one another, you can feel it and I can feel it. And it's not I don't have the sense right now that the Republicans are not going to take the majority in the House. I'm fairly confident. I wouldn't say I'm as confident as I always have been that the massive red wave is going to be crashing into Election Day in November. I think we're going to take the majority. I don't know that we're going to keep a 50-50 split in the Senate. I don't know. Yesterday, I was talking about the difference between the 2020 presidential election that was strictly supposed to be is a very simple concept. You can vote for the good guy, or you can vote for the bad guy. And you know who the good guy was. Even if you think that the bad guy is the good guy, you know who the bad guy was. And you know, even if you think the good guy is the bad guy, you know who the good guy is. That's what the 2020 election was about. And yesterday, I encourage you to go back and listen to it, because this is kind of going to be like the second half of that thought that I've continued to think about as we push closer and closer to Election Day. 68 days, folks. And then right after that's Christmas and Thanksgiving. The reason why this is kind of scratching on my brain and it's just got my attention is because it doesn't make sense to me, and probably to you, to look at the state of things in our country and go, why would the Democrats be gaining steam? What is changing in this country that's really like, yeah, I think these Democrats are doing okay. Joe Biden, he's actually really killing it right now. He's doing a great bang up job, and we need more of this. That's not happening in this country. The reason why, and I'm crediting Ben Shapiro here for making this point, and I'm going to read to you the rest of what he put on his Instagram account, is because the thing that made the country and made people likely, like you and me, go, November's going to be rough for the Democrats. I hope the Republicans, who actually get the majority and get some power authority in Washington, D.C., don't blow it once they get there. That was our concern. Like, man, I really hope they know what they're doing and have a game plan going into November. Take over in January. I really hope that they have an idea set ahead of them that they can immediately on day one start to get to work on. Well, let me read to you again. This is from Ben Shapiro, and I want to credit him because when I read this last night, I've been thinking about it ever since. The GOP is miscalibrating the very nature of the American political scene right now based on a myth. In fact, the entirety of American politics is based on dueling versions of the same false mythology, the mythology of the emerging Democratic minority majority. Democrats have banked on this myth since 2012, believing that it excuses their cultural and economic excesses. This is untrue and has led them into an electoral box canyon as many minorities turn away from their woke progressive overreach. So you're following me right now. You're listening to Ben Shapiro and you're saying, yeah, I've heard a lot about this. I know people in my own life who are pretty staunch Democrat voters who don't love the way this country is heading. And I know people in my life. You may know people in your life, and you hear the polls, the reports, the statistics suggesting that those Latinos that are in this country that are supposed to just be, kind of falling into the line of what President Biden said about black people. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Who says that? Well, the president of the United States, who was a candidate asking black people to vote for him, said that. These minorities that have always been banked on, counted as votes before Election Day. They don't even have to, like, President Biden believes and said out loud, which was the egregious sin of it all, that he actually admitted to it in public, in a very public way, that, listen, if you're a black person, you're going to vote for me. It's that simple. I need to do nothing else to earn your vote because, listen, by the color of your skin, the nature of the color of your skin, President Biden tells, was it Charlemagne the God? Is that who he said? Yeah. Tells Charlemagne the God on a very prominent, very successful radio program podcast, your skin color dictates who you vote for. And if you don't vote for me, you lose access to your skin color, whatever the heck that means. That if you think of it that way, then there's nothing else that Joe Biden believes in his mind that he has to do to earn that vote, because the skin color is the determining factor. Meanwhile, this is more from Ben Shapiro. Meanwhile, Republicans have also banked on the mythology of the emerging Democratic minority majority to the extent that they believe only a magical person, they have TM in their trademark, magical person like Donald Trump can defeat it. This means that when Trump is attacked, Republicans immediately return to making him the centerpiece of the conversation, and this harms them electorally, as every poll is now showing. Think about that for a second. As soon as you look at the fact that the Democrats are pushing in this idea that the minorities are going to become the majority, maybe not individually, maybe not, one minority becoming the majority and white individuals becoming a smaller entity than any of those individuals, but that the minorities together are going to make white people the minority. As if any of this should actually matter, how in the melting pot of the United States of America, we relate to one another. It's not a concept that as an individual, I'll say first and foremost as a Christian, as somebody who lives in the Midwest region of the United States, as somebody who's a conservative, as somebody who's a Republican, it's not a thought or a fear that I have. The percentage of white people versus the percentage of non-white people. But it's a huge deal in politics. And the Democrats have successfully pushed this into the center of the narrative. And the Republicans do what the Republicans do best, is they sit there and they go, nuh-uh, over and over and over again. The Republican defense to these Democratic assertions about who the Republicans are is always, no, that's not who we are. This is what the Republicans do. Instead of going out there and saying, this is what we stand for, this is what makes the country great, this is what we're going to do if you give us access to a majority in Congress or eventually the White House, this is what Republicans stand for. Instead, it's just, nuh-uh. And it's super annoying. More from Ben Shapiro. Two things can be true at once. Listen in, folks. First, the FBI raid on Trump looks like a political hit. Ben Shapiro, I concur. Second, the more Republicans talk about Trump, the worse they do electorally. I concur. Americans vote against things, not for them, Ben Shapiro says. If Republicans want Americans to vote against Biden, they have to campaign against him, not against the FBI or the deep state or on whether Trump had the right to have boxes of classified documents in his closet. Ben Shapiro writes, there is a reason Democrats are eager to keep Trump at the center of the conversation. Half of independents say Trump is a major factor in their vote. And they're breaking 4-1 for Democrats. Republicans shouldn't play that game. If they do, they're cruising for a bruising. And I think if you grew up in the 80s or 90s, you know that phrase. I was told that a few times. Ben Shapiro concludes, Democrats, we don't want to talk about Biden, the economy, our perversion of the education system, or Afghanistan. Let's talk about Trump. Republicans, great idea. Let's talk about Trump. That's exactly the way it is. It's like the easiest line cast into the water. The fish is on the bait before the hook is in the water. But why are Republicans losing momentum? A mystery wrapped in an enigma. I think Ben Shapiro is genius here. And a lot of times I'll read something like that. It'll spur my own thoughts. I'll put my own take on it. But Ben Shapiro is spot on. I give him full credit for that. And I want you can go to his Instagram account to see that whole thing if you want to share it, if you want to explain it. I like that he says in there that multiple things can be true at one time, that you can say, yeah, that Mar-a-Lago thing, whew, that looks political, dirty. But at the same time, if we spend the next 68 days obsessing over this thing that doesn't actually impact the future of the country with the task that is at hand, which is the midterm election, what is Joe Biden doing for this country, for you right now? He's destroying it. And if we get sidetracked, and here's how you know, folks, this is how you know that the Mar-a-Lago Trump insertion into the middle of the conversation, directly in the center of a hot beaming spotlight, is exactly what these Democrats had been on their knees praying for, is because all the president talks about is mean things that makes people remember where their Trump roots are. calling MAGA people semi-fascists, explaining how the MAGA movement is an extremist collection of people you and I know in our intellectual head with a few brain cells to rub together that is not true at all. And the bait is cast out there for you to go, nah, and try to fight back. And they're okay as long as that fight lasts about 68 days. And then they'll say, yeah, you're right. That was kind of a lot. I don't really think you're fascist. You're not one of them. I know you're not like that. They'll tell you that in the middle of November because they'll have gotten you. They will have gotten what they wanted, which is you. You distracted on the idea that Joe Biden is the worst president to ever sit in the Oval Office. And right now, the Republicans are on the precipice of putting him in his place, which is outside of a Democrat majority in the House, outside of the Democrat majority in the Senate. Republicans like Ron DeSantis winning in sweeping measure in Florida, which will be an absolute rebuke on an absolute rebuke on the idea that Joe Biden's way of doing things is the right way. Even places like Illinois, which 2 months ago were talked about being in play, not so much right now. Why? Because the entire Democrat message is once again about Donald Trump, and Republicans show up and they go, yeah, let's talk about him, man. He's our guy. You want to insult him? Let's go to the mattresses over this. You can love Donald Trump. You can defend Donald Trump, and you don't have to take the bait every time it's cast your way because it's being cast your way on purpose. It is a distraction from that very thing that Americans left, right, and center have been focused on up until a raid on Donald Trump's private home. And that's successfully. What will come of it? Will he be indicted? Probably. I don't know. Hans von Spakovsky is going to be on with us here in about 5 minutes, and he's going to talk to us about the latest developments in this, so stick around for that. Is Donald Trump going to be criminally charged, indicted, found guilty potentially for whatever it is that the FBI was doing at his home? I don't know. And that is a worthy fight for Americans to participate in. However, it's not the fight that we're in right now, not as a country. As a country, we are fighting for our freedom, for our lives here in the United States. We need to fight for our country back. And I'll tell you what, we need to fight to get our country back for Donald Trump. If you think that every conversation has to turn back to that man, and if you don't, that you are not giving him the allegiance that he deserves, please calibrate your focus and your attention on what the fight has always been about. It's been about America first. The idea that we should make America great again was something that existed, was in the American soul, and Donald Trump just named it. He didn't create it. He just gave it a name. It was in you before it was in the Oval Office with his presidency. And it has to be that way again. Keep your eye on the ball. Get mobilized. Get active in the electoral process. Find the local people who are running for office right now and support them. You cannot sit idly by and just hope. Thoughts and prayers in action, folks. That's where it's got to be. Let's talk to Hans von Spakovsky when we come back and get the legal expertise on what exactly is going on in the Mar-a-Lago process. Gotta love this song. Yes, September. I love it. It's the 4th time I've heard it today. And it's good because it keeps reminding me that it is September. Give us your comments as well on the Anti-Fry YouTube live. We have a live poll right now that you can go in the live chat. If the Biden administration is trying to make the midterm election about MAGA and Trump, do you believe that the Democrat turnout will increase? Go in the live chat. If you think everything I just said is the stupidest thing you've ever heard me say, I'd love to hear you tell me that as well in the comments, and we'll feature those as well. Hans von Spakovsky in a minute.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. Second Amendment Radio is a staple of solid firearm information on 97.1 every weekend. Saturday from 3 to 4 and Sunday from noon to 1. It's Second Amendment Radio and the great outdoors. 97.1 FM Talk.
The following is a commercial announcement.
There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
With MidwestWingFest.com. I'm loading the website up right now. Why don't you do the same? MidwestWingFest.com, an epic food and musical festival for an even more epic cause. Do you feel like helping Gold Star families locally? Yeah, you do. And you need to make sure that you support this event. It's this Friday and Saturday. From 5 p.m. to midnight, from Saturday, noon to midnight. It is at the St. Clair Square in the Dillard's parking lot in Fairview Heights, Illinois. Free parking, easy to find, easy to access. Come out to the Midwest Wing Fest in Fairview Heights, Illinois, and be a part of a really, really great cause. I'm going to be there in the VIP tent. I would love for you to join me. Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. I'll be there. Brad, Hannah, and Ryan are all going to be there, and we would love to meet you. So please consider purchasing one of those $45 tickets. Bring friends, because that $45 VIP ticket, which is good from 5 p.m. to midnight on Friday, from noon to midnight on Saturday, you can buy one for each day, or a joint ticket for an even better discount. This is going to get you your drinks. This is going to get you your wings, a great opportunity to see the music and kind of have a little elbow room to enjoy the event even better. I would love to meet you there. And also, please consider volunteering if you got the time. All the details online at MidwestWingFest.com.
If your business has accounting problems, you probably have tax problems. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Running a small business is tough, and it's no surprise that companies that don't keep good books often run into tax issues. If you don't fix your accounting problems, you could be doomed to land in the same tax pitfalls every year. Call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. I can help you get out of tax trouble and stay out. If your small business doesn't have a CPA or accountant, I can help you find one. And if you already have one, I work closely with them to resolve your tax problems quickly. Make no mistake, if the numbers don't add up, the IRS will catch it. Fix your accounting and tax problems before they snowball with help from the Lance Drury Law Firm. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. Call attorney Lance Drury, 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
The Labor Day event from Dell Technologies is here. End the summer strong by starting up a new season of productivity. Your business upgrade begins with up to 48% off top-rated laptops, like Vostro, taking performance to the next level with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. It's time to push your growing business even further. What's next for you? Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
When a nasty cold keeps you up all night, Vicks NyQuil Severe gives you powerful relief from your worst cold and flu symptoms, which changes a night that sounds like this into a night that sounds more like this. Ah, that's better. NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, stuffy head, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use this direct.
Making your money go further is more important than ever. So Diamonds Direct's bringing back our most popular offer of the year. 5 years, zero interest financing on any purchase. Now for a limited time, you get the amazing value Diamonds Direct is known for, and you can spread your payments over 5 years. Zero down, zero interest. A $6,000 diamond ring is just $100 a month. Don't miss this extraordinary offer going on now. 5 years, zero interest financing on anything and everything at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Details at diamondsdirect.com on approved credit.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
I was raised off of Route 3.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Sunday morning, raced barefoot back to Johnson's fence. That's where I first saw Mary on that roadside picking blackberries. That summer I turned a corner in my soul down that red dirt road.
I really hope that we can get the special master put in place so that we can have some impartial mediators to look at everything and get the documents that are supposed to be with the president back and look at everything in a perfect eye. Look, the Presidential Records Act protected him and allowed him to declassify materials. Nobody talks about that. Instead, they look at the 3 criminal statutes that they brought.
Well, that's Trump lawyer Alina Habba talking about the Presidential Records Act and his ability to declassify anything. We've had Mike Davis on talking about this from the Article 3 project, and he's been very, very specific and clear, suggesting that the president has the ability to declassify anything. I would like to get another legal expert's thought on this. Hans von Spakovsky joins us now. He is the senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation, a DOJ lawyer, the former FEC commissioner, and author. Hans, welcome back to the show. Always great to have you here.
Well, thanks for having me. And Mike Davis is correct. The president is the ultimate authority on the declassification of documents. So, look, if Joe Biden stood up today in the White House or at a press conference and said, I'm declassifying every single document held by the executive branch, he could do that, and no one could question it.
Is it just by virtue of his speaking it into existence? Is there a paper trail?
Yes. All he has to do is say it's declassified. Now, obviously, it helps if there's then something in writing recording what he has said. But no, presidents have the ability to simply say, this is declassified, and that declassifies it. Because, look, it makes perfect sense when you consider, under the Constitution, who is the head of the executive branch, the ultimate head? The president.
Yeah. Hans, when I think about that specific issue, it makes this all feel very simple to me, which makes me think I'm too simple-minded. Is there anything he cannot declassify?
No, it is totally within the province of the president. You know what's going on here, and if you look at the pleadings filed by the Justice Department, is that they're basically asserting that he never declassified these documents. That's what they say. That's what they say in the pleadings that they filed. And frankly, what needs to happen is, look, this has been before a magistrate judge. That's not a full federal judge. This needs to be taken over by a special set of judges who are appointed, and they need to hold a hearing before any of this goes any further, before a grand jury goes any further. They need to hold a hearing and ask both sides to present evidence on whether or not the president declassified these documents the DOJ is yelling about need to be given back. Because if it turns out that the president's correct, then this whole thing goes away.
So, Hans, where I get my law degree from is the comment section on Twitter. So you might need to steer me in the right direction here a little bit. I'm reading comments from people, somebody who's kind of a partisan on the other side reports something about the documents. We've seen the picture of the documents that were uncovered on the carpet that everybody is very hypercritical of at Mar-a-Lago. And the comments are all like, this is it. He's finally going to jail. These are our documents. These documents belong to the American people. How dare he steal these secrets that belong to us? I mean, since you actually have a law degree, what is your response to the hysteria that is culminating in Donald Trump's going to jail?
None of these people know what they're talking about. And I'm sure that if you ask them, well, who's got the right to declassify documents? They'd probably say, well, Donald Trump wasn't able to do that, which is just completely and totally wrong. Let me tell you the question that ought to be asked of the National Archives, who apparently started all this. Somebody needs to go to them and say, how many classified documents were taken with them when they left Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, George Bush? And what efforts did you make to get them back? Because I'd be willing to bet that all of those former presidents, took classified documents with them as they were putting together their presidential library, as they were writing their memoirs, etc. And I'm willing to bet the National Archives did absolutely nothing like this to try to get them back.
Well, let's talk about the FBI too, because if somebody on the right says to somebody on the left, but what about Hillary's emails? Let's talk about what the FBI did. Is bringing up Hillary Clinton's emails in this scenario, is there any congruency or parallel between what the investigative entities didn't do to Hillary and what they did do to Trump?
Absolutely, yes. Because what the difference in treatment between Hillary Clinton, who didn't have the ultimate authority to declassify documents, whereas the president does. The difference in the way they were treated shows the double standard being applied by the Justice Department. And remember, it's that double standard that the whistleblowers who have talked to Senator Johnson of Wisconsin and Senator Grassley of Iowa, it's that double standard that the whistleblowers have all said was being applied in the Washington field office of the FBI by the guy in charge of these investigations, Timothy Thibault, the guy who was escorted out of the building this weekend.
So here's the other thing people tell me all the time, Hans. We have a two-tier justice system. If you're on one side of the aisle, you get treated one way. If you're on the other side, you get treated a different way. Nothing ever happens. If you're looking down, Hans, and you understand the legality of what the president did have access to do by declassifying documents, and from what I hear you say and Mike Davis say when he's been on the show and other legal experts, that there is no limitation to what he can and cannot declassify. So if it's as simple to say that he didn't have classified stuff because he declassified it, and they're raiding his home and they're actually excusing things that Hillary Clinton did, is there any end in sight where these two tracks of justice converge in the middle and we get back to justice being blind?
The only way you're going to be able to do that, frankly, is to clean out both the Justice Department and the FBI. I mean, going back to something I think you and I had talked about before, I mean, think about the fact that when Chris Frey, the head of the FBI, a couple of weeks ago, was in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and Chuck Grassley started telling him about this guy, Thibault, the number 2 guy in the Washington office, and all the things the whistleblowers had said about him, none of this should have been a surprise to the head of the FBI if he was actually exercising good leadership, because this guy is a social media guy who was constantly posting his anti-Trump, anti-conservative posts. Did no one at the FBI realize that having someone like that in charge, someone that partisan in charge, for example, of voter fraud investigations, was a questionable and a bad idea? But the fact that Chris Frey was surprised by this and didn't know about it, it tells you a lot about just how bad things are at the FBI.
Well, Hans, I want to ask you, we're speaking with Hans von Spakovsky with the Heritage Foundation. I'll read to you a dissenting comment right now from one of our listeners following us on our YouTube live stream. He says, Paul says, Hillary was investigated for 5 years. She also testified under oath for days. No comparison here. And Trump had zero legal right to the documents that were highly classified.
Well, your listener doesn't know what they're talking about. The president has the ability to declassify any and all documents, and the Trump lawyers and others are asserting he declassified these documents. In fact, we have testimony from Kash Patel, who was on the National Security Council, saying he was there in the White House when these were declassified. Hillary Clinton set up a home computer to handle all of her government communications without letting anybody know. And that home computer was filled with communications, official government communications, including classified documents, which she didn't have any right to have there. This person saying that it's somehow different. What is her testifying under oath? have to do with the fact that there's no question that these classified documents were on her home computer. Not only that, but remember, before they finally handed her laptop over, she had her lawyers destroy 33,000 communications on that email, claiming those were personal communications. Well, we don't know, because she got rid of them before anyone in the government or the Justice Department could actually review it. It was a straight-out violation of the law governing the mishandling of classified documents, and yet nothing was done about it.
You know, I wonder if Donald Trump had the emails and had destroyed the emails. If Donald Trump would have done the same, had the same thing that Hillary Clinton had, and done this, and proceeded in the same behavior as Hillary Clinton had, what the conversation would look like nationally now. And same converse with Hillary Clinton having some of these, which is ironic because they did when they left the White House. The Clinton administration left the White House. They did have this stuff. And from what I understand, negotiations between presidential administrations and the National Archives, like that's kind of like an ever going process when an administration finally leaves the White House.
It is. And all these people who are saying, oh, you know, President Trump didn't have any right to any documents of any kind. Well, what do they think presidential libraries are filled with? You go to any presidential library, whether it's the Carter Presidential Library or the Bush they are filled with all kinds of documents from that president's time in the White House. And when they first leave the White House, they take huge amounts of documents with them, whether they're Democrats or Republicans. Why? Because what do they all do as soon as they get out? They write their memoirs. And yeah, at some point, the archives get certain materials back. But this idea, particularly, I mean, any listeners are saying, oh, he never right to take anything with him. That is just not reality. It is not the way the National Archives or anyone else has operated with every single past president, whether they're a Democrat or a Republican.
Hans, we love having you on, and we never get enough time with you. We'll look forward to talking to you again next week. Lord knows there will be more to talk about. Thanks for being with us today.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Hans von Spakovsky is the Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Please consider checking out his book, Our Broken Elections, How the Left Changed the Way You Vote. You can follow him on Twitter at @Von Spakovsky. Quick break. When we come back, Wiggins America in studio here with us. Looking forward to talking to him. What's he talking to us about?
He's going to talk to us about the Mega Millions winner.
I was going to say, because what I'm looking at right here is not the right topic.
We were just having that conversation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Mega Millions winner, the big winner from Illinois, hasn't claimed it yet. Let's talk to Wiggins about it when we come back. Don't go away.
There's life at Hawkins, that red dirt road.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Daddy didn't like me much if I shackled up GTO. I'd sneak out in the middle of the night, throw rocks at
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Tanya J. Powers. Tomorrow is the last day to order free COVID tests from the government. They're suspending that for a while. So go to covid.gov if you want to order some of those free tests to have on hand at your house.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
This is Ryan Wiggins, and I urge you to make Andrea's steak sauce a part of your grilling portfolio. If you haven't been outside in the last couple evenings, oh man, is this grilling season. It is such a great time to be outside enjoying the weather and making some food, maybe listening to a baseball game. All those things are optional. The Andrea's is not. The Andrea's is the focal point here. You got to get Andrea's involved in your grilling. And then while you're at it, check out their salad dressing. Two very unique sauces, probably unlike most things you've ever tasted. Certainly, their steak sauce has earned that reputation because this is something that's been made in St. Louis since 1978 now, and it is internationally famous. It is, of course, ordered by people all over this country as well. So you can do that too. You can order a case or a bottle of Andrea's sauce at Andreas.com, but you can get it locally. A lot of people can't do that throughout the country. You can get it at Schnucks, Straub's, and Dierberg's. And like I said, this is the best time of the year, especially the coming month, man. The evenings are great. So make Andrea's sauce a part of your grilling portfolio. You can get, again, once again, pick up that sauce at Andreas.com.
Hi, Mark Goldstein here for Edwards Carpet. Times are tough, we're making less, and you're still paying more. So if you need new flooring, now is the time. Take advantage of our Labor Day sale. Carpet starting at $349, completely installed with pad, including take-up of all carpet and furniture moving. For this sale, everything's on sale. You can take advantage of our 12-month 0% financing, and if that's not enough, you'll pay no tax. Don't miss out, because these days, if you wait, you'll simply pay more. See you soon at Edwards Carpet.
Come on down to Edwards Carpet Stores.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get your HVAC system ready for summer with a cooling system check included with all maintenance plans from Air Comfort Service. Maintenance plans start at $15 per month. To get into your comfort zone, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Up to the minute traffic reports, so you don't have to keep looking at your phone. Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
Yo, VIP. Let's kick it.
Ice, ice, baby. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show.
All right, stop.
Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance, caress a speaker that booms. I'm killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom. Deadly when I play a dope melody.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Vanilla Ice, follow the Annie Frey Show on Twitter.
I remember you saying that.
Every time I say that, I'm like, well, at least he was. He might not be by the end of the show if people tell him that. Like, don't tell him he follows me. I don't know why he follows me on Twitter, and I don't want him to remember that he follows me on Twitter.
You want it to be kind of a secret.
You know, I wonder if he tweets a lot, because some people follow people on Twitter and they don't participate. Yeah. But if he's like tweeting, then that means that he is on Twitter and would have to see my tweets.
Do you think he maybe, among other people, would just maybe have seen one tweet you randomly had out there and followed you?
I mean, like, he follows 50,000 people.
Yeah.
So he's got 333,000 followers. He follows 50,000 people, and the first two words in his description are non-political. That's so weird.
Yeah?
That says something on Twitter these days.
Man, it's amazing. I really respect somebody who has one thing. They did one thing, and they have parlayed that into an entire career. There is no better example of that than Vanilla Ice.
You think that's where it is?
I mean, what else? It would be great to have. I'm sure he wants to have a long career, but he has turned one little moment in time into 2 decades worth of reality shows.
Yeah, he's very successful.
I mean, it's
and
actually
if there was ever
impressive.
A problem that someone could solve, this would be good. he could step in. He could step in.
Wiggins. Wiggins America is sponsored by Midwest Swing Fest in Fairview Heights Labor Day weekend.
Like butter.
Absolutely. Very smooth.
MidwestSwingFest.com. Go be a VIP with us 6 to 8 p.m. Friday in Fairview Heights.
That's going to be fun.
We're going to let Ryan be a VIP too.
Yeah, I'm going to sneak into that tent.
I got you a ticket.
Oh, good.
I'm not going to give it to you.
I got to sneak in to get the ticket.
I'm giving it to your wife.
That's fine. She deserves it.
Yeah, she
She
deserves it.
more than I do.
No, you'll be there.
I will be there. And here's a question for you. Raise your hand if you are a billionaire. I don't see anybody raising their hand.
Ryan, why's your hand up?
Here's the problem. One of you might be. Because as we had this discussion at the end of July when the Mega Millions was getting higher and higher and higher, we all ended up, and I said I wasn't going to, but I did. I bought a ticket. I have checked that ticket about 15 times. I am not the winner, but you bought more than one ticket. I know you did.
I spent $20.
Have you checked them recently?
The numbers didn't change. No, I'm not holding on to that dream.
Well,
I decided I would just get up and go back to work.
Yeah, I kept seeing the reports that the winner was from Illinois. And
I'm up north, right?
But
North
it's
Central?
like almost right in the middle of Chicago, a little bit north of Chicago. So it wasn't anywhere near us, but it was Des Plaines, Illinois, I guess, is the name of the little municipality.
Is it Des Plaines or
I don't know. Des Plaines or Des Plaines.
Des Plaines.
Des Plaines. It's like Fantasy Island up there in Chicago.
It's a fantasy.
In many
all right.
ways. But that winner, now a month in, has not come forward. And they only have 30 more days to come forward if they want to declare what kind of payment.
What happens to the money?
That is the best question of all.
Do you have an answer?
Because the answer should be that it just goes right back in, right? I mean, am I wrong here? It should just go right back into the lottery.
It probably goes to like JB Pritzker or something.
You're real close.
State of Illinois?
It gets distributed to the states that are in the lottery. So in this case, Illinois would be one of them.
That's a conspiracy.
Tell me how.
You kill the person who won it.
Ooh, the government does it? The government goes, you're the $1 billion man. I'm going to off you.
Yeah, for the good of the government.
Okay.
That's how it ends. That's how we go down.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't really believe that.
I was going to say, are we above it? I don't know.
Probably not.
Unfortunately, in Illinois, roughly a quarter of every dollar played on the lottery goes to, well, the whole amount will go back, but it takes a year. So they have a year to come forward. They only have 90 or 60 days in Illinois to declare how they want to be paid.
Jimmy on YouTube says, "What if the dude washed the ticket?"
Oh, that'd be so unfortunate.
Wash the ticket?
If you destroyed that ticket accidentally, what would you do?
I think I'd think about moving out to the woods and living the rest of my life as a hermit. So I'd be so depressed with everything would happen.
It's funny because your life wouldn't have been technically any worse than it was the day before you bought that ticket.
No, but my psychology would be way worse.
I was gonna say Ryan would be standing out in the woods like he's staring out the window here at the office with his hands behind his back, just staring off into nothingness.
You guys make fun of me
forever.
You should see yourself. It's funny looking.
I don't want to see myself because I know it probably looks funny. Okay, here's what they're talking about. My office has a window. I have my show sheet for Wiggins America
I
on a
think it's
little
important for
dry
people to
erase
understand
board.
that Ryan Wiggins has his own office with a window. He's in there by himself, and I don't even have a computer or an actual desk in this building.
That's right.
Or windows.
If you want to move into my office, you can. That would be fun, wouldn't it?
I could take your office.
Here's what I do in that office.
I won't.
I stand there and I look at my show sheet on my dry erase board, and everybody thinks I'm staring out the window.
You
wistfully.
are staring out the window.
I am not. I'm looking at that show sheet most of the time.
Everybody in this building knows you're staring out the window.
I'm not saying I never look out the window.
Yeah.
I'm just saying most of the time when I'm staring at something, I'm looking at that.
So Ryan, what
dry
I
erase
don't
board.
get is you're usually looking up, and your little show sheet thing is
praying.
down on the sill.
Mm-hmm.
So to be looking at it, you'd have to be standing there, and your head would be like looked down. But you're
the
like,
only way we can do this, Brad, is to video him.
yeah, we'll have to do that.
You have to
We'll
do
ask
that
the people.
secretly.
It won't be hard.
No,
You're facing outward.
You know what the problem is? The entire office, this whole building, has a hallway that faces into my office. So if anybody ever walks down the hallway, they see me standing there.
Mhm.
There's no, you can be anywhere in the building and get in that hallway, and you can see into my office.
And you're standing there so frequently. Like a gnome.
Apparently.
Like a garden gnome.
Apparently.
An office gnome.
Is this a thing? Is this a thing beyond us? Do people talk? I need to know this.
I think people know you stand and look out your window and look like you're doing nothing.
That's what I don't want that. I'm gonna have to move my dry erase board to a different spot.
Or you could sit in your desk, or you could close your door.
I could close my door, but I feel I want to be friendly. I want everybody to know, including you. You could just move right into my office.
I know I could. Yep. You should stand at the window, but face the hall and just stare down the hall.
That's right. That's what I should do.
Put your dry erase board above your door so you can kind of look at it. But when people are walking, you just stare at them.
Just stand there with my arms crossed and shake my head.
That'll teach them to stare at you and talk about you. They won't talk about you anymore then.
I should do that while I eat too, because anytime I'm eating, everybody looks at me like, "Oh, what's he doing? Oh, he's eating something."
It's because you're always eating.
It's true. And then I should stand there and look back at them and declare, "Oh, you're going to look at me? I'm looking right back at you." And I got my mouth full of burrito.
You kind of do that when you're eating because you face the door.
I know. There's nothing I can do. You know what? You know what I'm realizing? That's why they gave me that office. Because nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted that
No, I think they wanted to keep an eye on you.
Maybe.
Now you have about 16 babysitters.
I am going to check my Mega Millions ticket one more time.
Why don't you
just
bring
to
it
make
in?
sure.
Why don't you bring it in here and we'll burn it together?
Okay. Can you bring yours in?
No, I have no idea where it is.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't have. I think was it? Did I have?
You bought
about $20 worth. How many? I don't even know how many.
10 tickets.
10.
Yeah.
I think I had 2 lines where I had one number in the first set and the mega. No, I don't know. I had 2 numbers and 2 lines, but it wasn't the right placement of the. I don't even know. I spend 12 hours thinking about what I'm going to do with my $1 billion, but I still don't know how to play. So maybe I did win and I don't know.
The coolest thing that I can do, I'm going to light a cigarette with that burning ticket. I don't even smoke, but I'm going to do it and I'm going to stand in my office and let everybody see it.
It's how we die. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Attention veterans, if you were stationed at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you and your family may be victims of toxic water poisoning. You could be awarded financial compensation for your suffering. Cancers, birth defects, deadly illnesses have all been linked to the contaminated water. Congress is now holding the government accountable, but you must act now. Get your free case review. Call True Law at 877-560-8555, 877-560-8555, or visit sickvets.com. That's sickvets.com.
The legendary RK Gun Shows are this weekend at the St. Charles Convention Center. Bring your family, rain or shine. Saturday 9 to 5, Sunday 9 to 3. We have everything for the lovers of the right to bear arms. RK Gun Shows, proud supporters of the Second Amendment.
Need a break from the sound bites and the talking heads? Do you want information you can actually use? Information that'll change your life for the better? Then listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, this is Ryan. You've heard me talk about Fountains Family Dentistry, but you don't have to take my word for it. I looked them up on Patient Connect. They have 115 reviews, and not one of them is negative. I pulled a couple up. They say the most awesome and most relaxed office ever, nicest people. That is actually the theme that I find with Fountains Family Dentistry, is that everybody says it's very relaxed, which is great if you have any sort of dental anxiety, but everybody's just so nice. And my kids even say that. I love going there because they're so nice. So that's from top to bottom. It's not just while you're getting care from Dr. Ty Parker or the dental hygienists there, who are very, very nice, but it's also Steve, who handles insurance and any questions about getting appointments and things like that. Very, very easy to work with. And of course, they're open late on some days. They're open early on some days. That's all to help you and your schedule. So visit them at fountainsfamilydentistry.com. They are located just off of Highway 64 in Fairview Heights, Illinois. So easy to get to, even if you're in Missouri. Visit them at fountainsfamilydentistry.com.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Making their case. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Lawyers for the former president and the Justice Department are before a federal judge in Florida arguing for and against the motion for a special master to review documents seized from the Trump estate in Florida, which his team says deserves a third-party review.
Now, the Department of Justice says as an initial matter, the former president lacks standing to seek judicial relief or oversight as to presidential records because those records do not belong to him. The Presidential Records Act makes clear that the United States States has complete ownership, possession, and control of them.
Fox's David Spunt at the courthouse in West Palm Beach. Either way, the handling of classified documents remains under investigation. Mississippi's governor says water pressure appears to be improving, but repairs continue after flood damage to a treatment plant that already had issues, leaving more than 150,000 residents in Jackson without clean running water.
To everyone in the city, I know that you're dealing with a profoundly unfair situation. It's frustrating, it's wrong, and it needs to be fixed.
Governor Tate Reeves pledging to work on long-term solutions, also announcing 7 state-run water distribution sites. An Indiana man is now charged with murder for the death of a Dutch soldier. 22-year-old Shamar Duncan also charged with attempted murder after 2 other Dutch soldiers were injured during a confrontation Saturday night in downtown Indianapolis.
Court records show the soldiers were training in Indiana and were on a night off in Indianapolis when they bumped into Duncan.
An individual made the choice to retrieve a weapon, and we are standing here with one person who has lost their life and 2 people who have been seriously injured as a result of those actions.
Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears Duncan was arrested on Tuesday and faces decades in prison if convicted.
Fox's Jeff Manasso, one of the wounded soldiers, already back in the Netherlands. America is listening to Fox News.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Tired of companies like Google and Facebook watching everything you do online? There's actually a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with a push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
When a nasty cold keeps you up all night, Vicks NyQuil Severe gives you powerful relief from your worst cold and flu symptoms, which changes a night that sounds like this into a night that sounds more like this. Ah, that's better. NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, stuffy head, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold, medicine. Use as directed.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's another good-looking Thursday of weather across St. Louis. Plenty of sunshine. What a nice start again. 88 will do it for the high this afternoon. Humidity levels still okay. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Evening temperatures dropping out of the 80s, but it's a slow drop. 65 for the overnight low. And Friday, partly to mostly sunny skies. 89, 90 for the high Friday. Same story on Saturday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Right here, right now.
If there's a prosecution of Donald Trump for mishandling classified information after the Clinton debacle, there'll be riots in the streets.
Can you imagine if they announced a march on Washington tomorrow in reaction to the raid or charges were filed against him? They'd put gates up around every single government institution and treat it like the Army of the South was marching on Washington again.
97.1 FM Talk. Right here, right now.
So when you are planning for retirement, if you're in your mid-50s, you're probably thinking a lot more about the 10 years down the road and what that might entail. Maybe not working anymore and living off of the savings that you've been amassing over the course of your career. Thomas Helbig is waiting for your phone call so that he can help make sure that that retirement that you go into it, worry-free. That is a priceless thing to have. And Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, and the folks at the Retirement Advisory Group, they're the experts. I want to encourage you to call them for a free, no cost, no obligation retirement review for you to engage in a conversation about what you have done so far and what they can do to make sure that that transition in your life, which is supposed to be a really, really exciting moment that you've worked really, really hard for, that you are going to be able to understand that it is going to be an exhale, worry-free. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. That's how you get a hold of them and book your appointment today. Mention the Annie Frey Show when you give them a call. RetirementKey.com.
The Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you may be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com. That's getrefunds.com.
97.1 and thousands of music options, plus millions of podcasts are all on the free Odyssey app. Download the app or tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 and it comes up automatically. 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
This is the National Assessment of Educational Progress. It's known as the Nation's Report Card, and it was released overnight. And it showed the worst drop in math and reading scores in decades for fourth grade students. What is that telling you? Is that a repudiation of remote learning during the pandemic?
You know, that is very alarming. It's disturbing, but it's not surprising, keeping in mind a year and a half ago, over half of our schools were not open for full-time learning.
So when we find out that fourth grade test scores in these key subjects are dropping, and you're looking around the country right now and you're saying, well, obviously this is a huge crisis. Who's trying to fix it? Crickets. You see anybody out there whose real key focus is to make sure our kids are learning what they're supposed to be learning? I wonder what TYRUS thinks about it.
You're becoming like my most stable relationship.
Enough said.
TYRUS, fresh off of his whirlwind trip to St. Louis, back on the Annie Frey Show with us. Welcome back. I hope you've rested up. That was quite a weekend for you here in St. Louis, TYRUS.
Yeah, literally just got back. Had the rest of TV tapings or whatever, came up short in 74, but these things happen. But I have a different take on this, and I'll see if you agree with me or not.
Okay.
Okay. Our forefathers and mothers, they were having schools while they were dealing with war, famine, disease, bad weather, civil wars, etc. And they found a way to educate and make school a priority. I think and now we're in the first world where I think it's a combination of bad parenting and bad teaching. Parents are willing to sit and watch 48 episodes on a Netflix series, but not use that time to sit down and go through math. And I always hear the same thing. It's like, I don't like the new math. I don't like this, or I don't like that, or I don't understand this. But you will take time to figure out how to get your Apple Watch to pair with your phone, pair with your Facebook, so you get alerts when one of your friends takes a picture of a Shirley Temple. So I think we can't look, first of all, especially with this administration, we have to stop looking at them for solutions, especially with the progressive agenda, which is basically a polite way of saying socialism. And socialists are not big on educated people. They are big on people who need them for everything and will trust them with everything. So look up Stalin, look at those guys. They always started out with great ideas. And I think that maybe I'm getting a little too far on the conspiracy stuff here, but the point is that parents, in my opinion, are not investing enough time in their kids. And I think it has a lot to do with too much TV, internet, etc., and me. You know, it just, we always talk about, we see the sacrifices parents made when we were growing up, but we never heard about them. And I always hear, and I'm not perfect at all, not even a little bit. Like, oh, I want to watch I want to watch the game. You know, I want to watch the Celtic game when I should be reading, going over my daughter and my son's reading and stuff like that. So by no means am I clean on this one either. But I think it's more of that. And the pandemic was really put on us. And I know we always hear about, well, I had to work, I had to do this, I had to do that. But I mean, it's just hard to swallow when you think about single parents or like families who have nothing were able to, you know, India is a perfect example. Some of their populations don't have anything, but yet their kids still end up being doctors and lawyers and stuff. So it's about what you put into it. So again, there's a million excuses, and I think that's kind of a problem.
I agree.
don't know if you agree with that. I don't know if that was a little harsh, but that's just where I'm at with it.
I agree with that. TYRUS with us right now, Fox News contributor. You see him on Gutfeld, host of the TYRUS and Timpf, along with Kat Timpf podcast, and NWA World Television Champion, of course, author of Just TYRUS, a memoir. I think that we have worked so hard to use every issue that exists in our lives, which in America, they're kind of supposed to be our issues that we're supposed to fix instead of sitting around waiting for somebody to show up with the solution to provide it to us. But politics is it is the main currency of our time. And so if this issue becomes if they can turn it into something political, I mean, if they solve the issue, then they can campaign on it the next political campaign season. So nothing ever gets solved. But meanwhile, we have not made that transition, I guess, kind of like what you're saying, back to saying, no, I'm in this for my kids. I can't solve the problem for everybody, but I got to focus on my kids and bringing those problems and solutions back home.
Maybe we all missed the premiere of Yellowstone and we open up the arithmetic book, you know, but again, that's accountability, and it's really lacking. And it's just so much easier to blame the other side for, you know, like the pandemic was, it was tough, you know, having to teach your kids or deal with the kids, or you turn the laptop on and your kids they can stare off. I mean, literally at one point, one of my kids wrote buffering as their name on the ID, and they basically played in the room all day, you know, because it was buffering. So, but, you know, it's just about getting back to basics, getting back to what's important, and we just have so many distractions now and so many excuses for distractions. Like if a parent, this is the last, like if you look at your phone usage and how much time you're on social media, there needs to be an app to how much time you're spending with your kids. Mm-hmm. I'm scared to think that the social media is going to be beating the quality time you're actually spending with your kids. Yeah. And the quality time everybody's sitting on the phone.
That's true. That's for sure. You know, you've been traveling the country, and you go to a lot of different places, a lot of different regions who are experiencing life, you know, pre-COVID in a different way. Post-COVID, I'd imagine it's even more so. COVID definitely had an effect on our kids and their education, but COVID has had effect on everybody. I'm curious what your experience is through your travels in how are we in a post-COVID world, I guess, is the question I'm trying to ask. Has that been your experience?
I think everyday people like yourself and myself, yeah, we are. The media is not. As you said, politics are trying to make it another currency, a hot button issue, you know, but everyone else is pretty much getting back to living their lives and trying to make up for the losses that they spent during the pandemic, and trying to jump back in the water 1,000 miles, and the water's kind of a different temperature now. So I think a lot of people are maybe struggling with the adjustments. Again, another bad thing for the pandemic, it was kind of trying to inspire being less civil, being less social, you know, work from home, be from home, do everything from home, stay away from everybody. The workforce has been crushed. We've lost faith in our institutions. When you see more people got money through the PPO and all that stuff and the relief fund by committing fraud than the actual people who are supposed to get it. You see landlords and property owners losing their homes because they're watching their tenant not pay rent and buy a new car.
Yeah.
And then get more checks. So, I mean, I think the biggest thing is, or maybe it's a good thing, hopefully we'll see it in November, is that we're seeing with the big, and I'm being very partisan here, but I think the bill of goods that Democrats were selling really got exposed for what it was, that they are, I mean, just look at the electric cars. They all made sure they made money, but no one bothered to think, is the country ready for this? You know, we don't want to work with the oil companies. They just want everyone so they can be on top and get the early money. Nancy Pelosi drops out of her stocks right before the stuff comes down, the stimulus comes down with they're not going to make chips for China anymore. So, I mean, it's just the corruption is just disgusting. And it's not just, and Republicans knew it, and guys in the Senate knew it. It's like I'd say it was like wrestling. They like take turns fighting, but then work together and make profits. And it's really, when you look at it, the good news is it's getting exposed. The bad news is I think the reaction is more of, well, we can't do nothing about it. And that's what worries me a little bit.
You know, you talked a couple things that you've brought up right now, Tyrus, as we've been talking that I think go together. I'm curious your thoughts on it. You've talked about how we're such a me society. And you've also talked about the job market and these jobs that are available, and folks out there who are running small businesses can't get people to work for it. And I was talking about this a little bit earlier this week on the show, but the industry that's hurt the most is the service industry. And if you're going to put yourself in a position to serve other people, that is the antithesis of what our society is today. To put yourself in a position to have to make somebody's food, give them their food, smile while you're giving them their food, and give them an experience that makes them want to come back and experience it again because you served them so well. I don't know that our society right now is going to be able to recover from this self-centered mentality that we have, which probably means here come the robots.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know what? And that's a good point. But again, we always want to blame the servers. But again, I'm no saint. But when it comes to my food, I tend to be a nice guy. I overtip because when I come back, I get treated like a guy who overtips.
Sure.
And this weekend in my travels at a restaurant, people were complaining about the seat times, and they were complaining about the food, and they were complaining about the this and that, and they were all sitting on their high horses telling everything that was wrong. And I said to the waiter, we got at the table, I will tip you $100 if I can get a table away from all the whining and crying. And he was like, for $100, you can sit wherever you want. I haven't had a good tip all night. And the place was packed. So me and my friends sat in the corner and had a nice meal and good conversation while everyone was still, because it's not just the workers, it's this you should serve me thing, and I'm not going, you don't see the tips anymore, or patience. If something's wrong with your food, it's not the end of the world. You just might have to wait a few extra minutes for your burger with no red onions, and saying mistakes are made. And this idea that we accept nothing. Like you just hear people, it's not just Karens. Karens are off the hook now. It's like everybody's got a little Karen in them, and you just see the way people treat each other. And I wouldn't be a waiter right now, even if you give me an hourly wage on top of tips. There's no chance in hell I'd do it, because just the way people treat each other, this entitlement, this COVID was bad, but the outbreak of narcissism in this country is still rolling rampant. I don't know what we do with it, because it's really, you see people, they don't say hi to people anymore. Excuse me,
smile.
If you say somebody and you don't know their name because you met them for the first time, they snap back at you because you don't know their Facebook nickname. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, but it starts with you. It starts with me. Like I have to be, and it's hard sometimes when you literally, like the size of King Kong, you just crush them in your hand. They're being a jerk. You're like, you know what? Have a good day.
Yeah.
Dagan McDowell always says, "Bless your heart," even though it's a double meaning. But it does sound good though. Well, bless your heart, which is Southern charm for FU, I believe.
I was gonna say, I've heard it said worse.
Yeah,
those words can come out worse. TYRUS, before we let you go, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to talk a little bit about your time here in St. Louis. People commenting right now who are watching our show want to say hello to Georgie. She stole the hearts of St. Louis when she was in here with us and, of course, at the Wildie on Friday night. We hope you had a great time. We are so grateful that you spent some of it, your precious time with us here in the studio. Just any comments you want to make about being here this past weekend?
I am so envious of you and your team. Like, you guys, like, you enjoy, it's like a fun place to work. I only got to be there for a short time, but I was like, man, I would move to St. Louis in a minute and get a job in radio, because you guys it was such a great atmosphere. Everyone was so nice. I think I've never been asked if I wanted water more times in my life.
Hannah had one job.
Yeah, he did it.
Make sure he's not thirsty.
I was definitely hydrated. And then how, letting an 8-year-old on live radio is one of the most dangerous things.
That was risky. That was great.
She wasn't, and I have some parenting to do because my daughter wasn't as accepting of dyslexia as I was hoping she would be. So basically, like, wait, you can't spell maybe? And I was like, it's not, but it's complicated. She was just like, wow.
It might not be the dyslexia thing as much as it was just an 8-year-old's dad, 8-year-old opportunity to bust on dad, which I think is probably a language that is spoken across the planet.
And the fact that she made it sound like I make her fix me stiff drinks at night was also something that I was not. I thought I did a good job of covering up, but I mean, just to let her do that, like, she will never forget that, and it gave her so much confidence that because I asked her if she wanted to do a joke, and she's like, nope. And the day of the show, she's like, I want to do my jokes, and it was because you guys saw there, and she was so happy to see that you guys were coming that she wanted to do a joke. So she told the joke on the air, like, oh, nobody laughed. Oh, there's one. And I was like, okay, you're stealing my entire bit, kid. But it was nice to see community. It was nice. Pappy's barbecue, I went there twice.
Oh, good for you. That's not a bad decision.
No, I have enough shirts and hats to last me for at least 4 episodes. But it was just really nice to be a part of a great community, and everybody was so positive, even doing Fox and Friends and stuff. And even when I got low blowed and lost the title shot, yes, Trevor beat me in 74. I'm sure he's listening. But, just the fans were excited. And to be sold out on a Sunday night when everyone's got to be at work in the morning and school starting was just a testament to how great a place, St. Louis was and is. And I can't wait to come back in, and we're actually trying to figure out something for the coming back to do maybe another show in December. So, but I'm not sure where. I might get a little bigger venue just because of the reaction and how people were, so into. So, I'll keep you posted on that. But I had a really good time, even though he cheated. I had a really good time.
I read about that. We were at the event. We went to the wrestling event, and I had to get home to relieve a sitter for my kids, so we couldn't stay late. And this is the story of my boring life, but we got to see some NWA wrestling, and it was a real experience for me, and I was glad I was able to go.
Yeah, because because I go away and disappear and get my mind right, so I wasn't sure if you guys were able to make it or not because you had such a hectic week, and show was going a little longer than I anticipated, but
it was great. The crowd was wild, and I just got to tell you, TYRUS, from the time you were with us. I mean, every week that you're on with us, our folks are happy that you're here and grateful that you give us the time. But my messages, my DMs, the comments on our social media, every single day, people are being glad that you were here and grateful for the opportunity to have you in studio, to see you at the Wildie, to see your wrestling, to meet Georgie. You're a hit here in St. Louis, and we're very grateful that you gave us all of that time.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for all your hard work. You didn't have to do any of that, and both events were amazing success because of the Annie Frey show. So, and I said Frey.
You did. Yes, you did. Nailed it.
on behalf of the NWA, and thank you guys very much.
Well, we look forward to what's coming later this year or the next time you're in town, and we will be sure to make sure our listeners are the first to know about it. TYRUS, we'll talk to you again next week. Thanks for being here again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. TYRUS on Twitter, @Planet TYRUS, TYRUS Smash on Instagram. Most of his stuff, I think he keys in on Instagram the most. So if you want to continue to follow him and what he's doing, please consider going there. Pretty cool if he's going to wear a Pappy shirt on Gutfeld. That'd be sweet.
That's super cool.
Yeah, hope he does that. I'll have to tune in for that as well. All right, when we come back, are we going to do Mount Rushmore when we come back? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I might need a little bit of help narrowing some of these down. So we've been doing Mount Rushmores, which is a new kind of little feature segment that we're doing, mostly because it was a Jalen Rose. Is that right?
Yep. Jalen Rose.
Jalen Rose, an NBA player, said that we need to stop talking about Mount Rushmore and not make Mount Rushmore a thing. And I was like, you know what we should do? We should make Mount Rushmore a thing on this show. So we're going to do the Mount Rushmore of movies that couldn't be made today. And I've got 2 written down here. I've got a couple other in my mind that I'm pretty sure are going to get mentioned with the rest of the group here. But you can share your suggestions on the Annie Frey Show live chat. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Go to the YouTube channel to comment, though. It's the easiest way for you to get your voice heard. You can also vote in the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. If the Biden administration is trying to make the midterm election about MAGA and Trump, do you believe the Democrat turnout will increase? Yes or no? Go vote in the live chat and leave a comment. What movies in the past could not ever be made today? That when we come back. Don't go away.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. .97.1, your continuing home of free speech in St. Louis. It's free and fair. 97.1 FM Talk. Keep it locked in right here. The place for discussion. The place for ideas.
So MidwestWingFest.com is the website. I want you to go there and consider volunteering at this amazing event. It is in Fairview Heights, Illinois. It is a food and music festival like none other, and it benefits local Gold Star families. If you have time to volunteer Friday, 5 p.m. to midnight, that's this Friday, 5 p.m. to midnight, or Saturday from noon to midnight at an amazing festival with the best wings in town, you need to check out MidwestWingFest.com for details. And if you want to join us at the VIP tent, I'm going to be there from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Friday night. That's tomorrow night at Midwest Wing Fest. Get your tickets online at MidwestWingFest.com.
If you filed a tax extension in April, don't wait until it's too late to handle your tax issues. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm. Every year, thousands of Missourians file extensions when their taxes are due in April. But what people don't know is the extension only moves your deadline to file your return, not to pay your taxes. So if you didn't pay anything back in April, you could now owe taxes plus interest plus penalties. You think you bought yourself time, but really you've just added to the total bill. If this sounds like you, call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. I am a local tax attorney with an A+ BBB rating, and I will meet with you right away to help handle your tax problems quickly. The deadline to file your return after an extension has already passed, so call the Lance Drury Law Firm now before it's too late. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. Call attorney Lance Drury, 314-260-6120, or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Jules on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jules on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jules on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jules on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. Jules on Hampton.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Call it magic. Call it true.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Call it magic.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. If you missed it, we just talked to TYRUS. He said some great things about you folks here, St. Louis. Proud to help represent St. Louis on the Annie Frey Show. And of course, the weekend we had with TYRUS was fantastic. If you missed that, you can go in the Odyssey app, rewind about 105. It's when we started talking to TYRUS. Let's do a little fun segment now. We got the Mount Rushmore
Can
segment.
we retire using Mount Rushmore? That should be offensive to all of us.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
So this is Ryan Wiggins' suggestion. I like it. And while we are going through our Mount Rushmores of movies that couldn't be made today, I'm watching specifically your comments here, and I might scratch some of mine out and put your suggestions in if they are better than mine. Ryan, your topic. We've got Brad and Hannah and myself all in here to give you what our Mount Rushmores are of movies that couldn't be made today. Ryan, you can go first.
Okay, well, I got the idea from watching the movie Team America: World Police.
Oh, that one.
Oh, yeah.
What? Do you know that movie? Yeah. Classic. I have no idea what
I
that
have
is.
no idea what that is.
It's the South Park guys.
Yeah, and it's a puppet movie and
made with all puppets.
Oh man,
What's
It
the
is
year?
inappropriate. I would have to guess
Just guess.
2003.
Okay.
2003. There's a lot of movies from right then
Oh, yeah.
that you can rewatch now because they're not so old that they seem like old movies yet. That you watch them and you're like, oh my gosh, our society has moved so far in 10 to 15 years.
Mhm.
That's one of them. The next one, White Chicks, I put down just because I'm like,
That's a
I
good
don't
one.
know, maybe. I don't know the joke
I have that
specifically
one.
Was
enough.
it the Wayans brothers
Mhm.
in Whiteface?
In Whiteface and as girls. Tropic
I think
Thunder.
is the wife? I don't even know which one's worse right now. I don't know what the hierarchy is
Yeah, I don't either.
these days.
Intersection. Tropic Thunder. Does anybody know that movie?
I do.
Just the title.
Yeah, I barely
Robert
made
Downey
it through
Jr.
it.
Yep. That's one that you're like, man, these are still big stars right now.
But when Tropic Thunder was made, I don't know about that because when Tropic Thunder was made, it was super controversial when it was made, and they knew it and they did it anyway. Like they did it in the face of controversy, and maybe there was an appetite for the controversy at the time that there is a fear of the controversy now. But Robert Downey Jr. plays a black man in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that you could do that now. Maybe Robert Downey Jr. would love nothing more than to do that
Well,
now in the context of the people who did that movie.
I mean, and not only that, he played a black man. So Robert Downey Jr. was in blackface, and then Ben Stiller played
Mhm.
a character who was mentally
challenged.
And
See, you can't even talk about it without
Yeah.
feeling
Mhm.
with the
Yeah,
intent
the
of not trying to offend people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they went all in. And I just don't, I think you're right that there's probably still is an appetite for that right
Mhm.
now, which is why we're talking about this.
There's a huge appetite for it.
Yes.
You just
Probably
can't
more
talk
than
about
ever.
it.
Yes.
It's just like the Fight Club. You can't talk about
Yeah, but that's my point is that I think even though there's that appetite,
Fight Club.
they wouldn't make it be for fear that they would be canceled. You know,
Yeah.
whoever would just be so maligned that they would never make another movie again. The last one I wrote down just because it has to be on the list. And I figured there's a couple others that have to be. This is one of them. Airplane. There's just
We
so
got a
many
lot of
jokes.
comments about
Yeah.
that.
The theme of the movie itself, a lot of these, they have like themes like White Chicks. You're like, that in itself couldn't even be an elevator pitch now.
Is airplane still funny?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a few years since I've seen it, but last time I watched it, it was funny, and it's so in your face.
Yeah.
They do not even try to stop. So there's my 4. I think some of those may have some crossover with you guys, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Hannah, what do you got?
I did have Ryan and I shared one on the same list. I put White Chicks down. I put Mrs. Doubtfire down. That could not be made today.
I crossed that one off my list, but that was in my radar.
Billy Madison. I don't know if that could be made again today.
Billy Madison?
Mm-hmm.
How come?
Him being in the classroom with all the young kids. I don't know if that would fly today. I feel like people would be bothered by that.
He does insult the kids a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if
Which
you'd
is
do today.
funny.
Well, I agree.
love that.
I agree.
That's
when he
great.
smokes him with the dodgeball.
Well, yeah.
Ryan, I do think you're right though. That 2000 to 2000, probably 4 or 5.
Great time.
Yes.
Those are the
Yes,
best.
bravo to that
movies.
era.
That's what we call college.
That's our era.
That's the time of my life.
Those movies were great. And then if I could think of one more off the top of my head, it'd probably be what is it called? Gilbert's Grape with young Leonardo DiCaprio.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Gilbert Grape. That's his name.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that movie could not be made again today.
Yeah, that movie is about an incredibly obese woman who can't move out of her house, and she ends up getting sick to the point where I'm sorry if I'm spoiling this for you. She dies.
Great. Oh, great. That's what I was going to watch this weekend.
Leonardo DiCaprio has some developmental disabilities, and Johnny Depp has to help Winona Ryder. Maybe is she the female?
This all sounds
Is that how they got
familiar.
together? I don't know. But the very obese woman dies, and they can't get her out of the house. And the whole point of the movie is that she's so big that when she passes away, in order to get her out of the house is going to be a massive spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
And so they set the house on fire so that they avoid the spectacle.
Spoilers.
That would not be recreated today. No
I've
way.
watched that movie many times. I actually enjoy the movie, and I don't know why, because it's incredibly sad.
Me too.
Go ahead.
Oh, my turn.
Mount
All right.
Rushmore.
So the first movie I want to say is Tootsie with Dustin Hoffman, and the whole movie is him cross-dressing to get a job.
Man, you talk about movies that don't even stand the test of time.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be made because it's just boring and weird.
And I have
Tell them how you feel, Ryan.
yeah, I have Nerds on my list. I don't remember the year that was made,
Oh.
but like they literally go into the top of a sorority, drill through the roof, and like install cameras into the sorority.
Nerds, Revenge of the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it just Revenge of the Nerds?
It's Revenge of the Nerds.
Okay. Yeah. Because I knew there was like 6 of them, and I didn't know if there was one of those.
Ryan wants to make sure you don't confuse it with the candy.
Yeah. I had
get this
Django
straight.
Unchained on that list.
Oh.
I've never seen that.
I don't know though. I still think that's that's the same thing as what was the one you were saying before?
Team America, World Police.
No. Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
It was super controversial when it came out, and it's what's his face?
It's Jamie Foxx.
No, the director.
Oh, Quentin Tarantino.
Yes, the guy who does when you feel like you've gone too far, he sprints past that line.
Yeah. But I wonder who they would get to play the character that Leonardo DiCaprio played, because that character was particularly heinous, and he has to use the N-word a lot and maliciously. And I just don't know.
That was controversial at the time it came out.
It was, but it also is. It's whitewashing history to suggest that type of behavior didn't happen, and it was heinous, which is exactly why you need to make sure that you stay close to history so you know how bad it was. I don't know that I watched that movie, but I had to turn away from it so many times that I don't even think I really remember the whole plot line with Samuel L. Jackson. But a disgusting, revolting character in Leonardo DiCaprio, which I read stories, you probably did too, about him apologizing, being I don't think I can do this. And they're like, no, you got to go all in on this. That's key.
Yeah. And then my last movie is the low-hanging fruit of Blazing Saddles, because
somebody had to say that. Yeah.
I just don't see how that movie ever gets made again. And the thing about it is I believe that movie was a commentary on racism.
Oh yeah. There's really nothing in the movie that would be considered thematically wrong today. It's just the way they do it is, well, you can't do that now. You can't. Everybody's too sensitive.
Nobody said any of mine.
Okay.
I'm going to go a different direction of movies that couldn't be made today, not because of culture, but Home Alone. Like,
okay.
Just call home.
The technology itself.
Short movie. I mean,
has
like the
changed.
entire idea of it being, what is that, late 80s or early 90s? I feel like it's like 92 or 99, whatever. Like, that's not, you can't have, that doesn't happen now.
Like a Lost at Sea movie. Can't really have those anymore.
Yeah. So Home Alone, just, you couldn't make that movie again because people would be like, this is dumb. Just make a phone call. I'm going the route of Sex and the City. And this is why. The show going into the first, the entire idea of Carrie Bradshaw and Sex and the City is that her life is not complete without a man.
Oh, interesting.
And
okay.
And the men that she connects with, it's just disaster. And it's all about Carrie Bradshaw's pursuit for some, like the person who's going to, because Carrie Bradshaw, the lead, Sarah Jessica Parker is a columnist in a popular magazine. And so she writes about her life and so on and so forth. But I don't think that the idea that you have a woman in New York City who's looking for love and is like the arc of every story is about how a man affects her life. I just don't think that plays anymore.
That's a really good point.
I actually think too that there's nothing wrong with feeling like there's a piece of you that's out there that you haven't found yet and focusing in on it. I just think that society today doesn't value that.
Yeah.
So
we cancel U2's Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For also.
So and the next one I'm going to say is Shallow Hal.
Oh yeah.
It's one big fat shaming movie.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's really like, I mean, I remember watching it when it came out and being like, I'm uncomfortable.
I thought the same. I actually thought that too.
I'm not a sensitive person, and I'm thinking, this is kind of gross.
I was fat when that movie came out, and I laughed so hard. It's like, what's this chair made out of? And the guy's like, steel? It's like, well, you should weld it better in the corners.
Oh, Brad. Yeah, Shallow Hal, Jason Alexander's character in that is so horrific. But like when we're talking about Tropic Thunder or Django Unchained, like they were pushing for the sake of pushing. Shallow Hal is like one of those cheap throwaway movies that you can kind of make with a Gwyneth Paltrow thrown in there and make some money and move on. And it was terrible. It was terrible.
An argument that it was not good.
Some of these movies, I'm saying, no, we should make movies that push the issue for the sake of art. Maybe not Shallow House. Let that one put that on the back of the shelf and let it collect dust.
You know what's amazing right before you get your last one here is that I
Don't
think
scoop me.
I'm not, but 90% of these so far, I think other than maybe just Django Unchained, have been comedies.
Yeah, because you're laughing at things. And you can't laugh at things. We're not allowed to laugh anymore.
That's right.
Speaking of Ace Ventura, the entire movie that's based on
Finkel is Einhorn.
That's a great
Einhorn
one.
is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. And then she finds out, and your gun is poking into my hip.
Yeah, and then Dan Marino flips her around at the end.
It's
Yeah,
it's not makeable. That one of all of them, like the entire story, especially about a pet detective who wants to return the dolphin to its pen. It's kind of questionable. Also, nobody ever talks about that, but still, like, let's get the captured dolphin back in its captured little pen so everybody's happy except for the freaking dolphin. There's a lot about that is not remakeable, but it does stand in its moment of time and gave us some mid-90s laughs that are still funny.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good one.
Bring back comedy.
Bring back comedy.
Please.
People on our chat here saying Airplane, Blazing Saddles, Chuck and Larry.
I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
I never saw that. I've never seen Blazing Saddles, and I need to see it.
Either.
I need to go see it, but I have never. So I thought about putting that on there, but I never seen it. So I thought that would be cheap. Someone said The Man Show. That's more of a show, which I think you could bring back and people would watch it. That would be the funny thing, is to bring these back and see how many people, like especially on television, would actually.
Yeah, Jimmy
watch
Kimmel,
it.
why won't you host this show anymore? Have you changed?
As Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Have you seen that skit?
Oh wait, yes, I think I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yes, he did.
yes. There was a period of time for about 5 years where that was just okay again. where a lot of those actors did that.
Well, you'd gone through the period of racism, and then you got to the point where everybody kind of worked through that, and then it was like, all right, we're cool with one another. Let's just laugh at ourselves. And then now we've moved past that.
We've moved, full circle.
Man, a lot of people commenting. Keep them coming. We will maybe highlight a few of them when we come back. The Mount Rushmore of movies that couldn't be made again. And a few of those we all probably agree shouldn't maybe have been made in the first place. Jason Alexander, what were you thinking? Just say no. Hey, look, Tyrus is on Fox News right now.
He was calling us from backstage.
He probably was. Stick around, more Annie Frey Show, and your votes on the YouTube live chat poll. If the Biden administration is trying to make the midterm election about MAGA and Trump, do you think the Democrat turnout will increase? Yes or no? Let's talk about it when we come back.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. The Mark Reardon Show.
Jazz Shaw is with us. The situation with Hunter Biden's laptop. They're looking at Facebook for records of the conversations with the FBI.
Right. Everything we were told by the FBI turned out to be a lie.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Stewart's American Mortgage, the bagel loan guy. Why choose the bagel loan and why choose Stewart's American Mortgage? Because you can go a lot of places and get a mortgage refinance, of course. This is why you call or text 314-324-4440 and choose Stewie. The bagel loan is set up so that you do your business directly with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage, and he is able to wipe away all of those fees that everybody else out there is going to have to charge you. You're going to save potentially thousands of dollars by going through your mortgage refinance or your home purchase when you use the bagel loan. 314-324-4440. You can call or text that number. Mention the Annie Frey Show when you do and get started on this process right now. While rates aren't as high as they've been, they're also not as low as they've been. Still could be lower right now than the rate you have currently. What is your rate? If you don't know, now's a great time to check and reach out to Stewie to find out if that rate can be lowered. And if you are looking to take equity out of your house to pay down high interest credit card debt, or also to maybe repair something on your home, use the bagel loan. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan. NMLS number 226715.
Making your money go further is more important than ever. So Diamonds Direct's bringing back our most popular offer of the year. 5 years, zero interest financing on any purchase. Now for a limited time, you get the amazing value Diamonds Direct is known for, and you can spread your payments over 5 years. Zero down, zero interest. A $6,000 diamond ring is just $100 a month. Don't miss this extraordinary offer going on now. 5 years, zero interest financing on anything and everything at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Details at diamondsdirect.com on approved credit.
You've listened to 97.1 FM Talk. You've heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a week right here on 97.1 Talk FM. And you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get in your comfort zone with a new HVAC system and see if you qualify for 0% financing and $100 to $900 in utility rebates. For details and a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Information to keep you moving. Dependable traffic, mornings and afternoons with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
Who says I can't get stoned? Turn off
The Annie
lights
Frey
and
Show
turn
is
the
streaming online.
phone.
Watch us live on YouTube and
Who
subscribe.
says I can't get stoned? Who says I can't be free from all of the things that I used to be? Rewrite my history. Who says I can't be free? It's been a long.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. You guys want to talk about something that's a little, I don't know, would this be called highbrow? I don't know.
I guess we'll see.
The New York Post did an article that says devout religious followers have better, I will use the phrase, intimate lives.
Sweet. And you know what?
Shocking study.
No argument. Who did that study?
This is from the New York Post is reporting on this. I'll read to you a little bit. I'm going to clean this up because we're all adults here, but some of us might be a little ears in the car, and we'll just talk in a way that we can all sit here and understand what we're saying at the same time. For good intimacy, turns out you've got to have faith. People with strong religious beliefs have higher levels of bedroom satisfaction, according to a new study published in the Journal of Intimate Research. So they studied the correlation between faith and intimacy and found that if you have a strong faith life, does this not make complete sense?
It absolutely makes complete sense. Totally.
Yeah.
I read this and I mean, like, the literal headline in the New York Post is devout religious followers have better sex lives. Shocking study. But it's not. No, it's not. Like, do either one of you want to go, Pastor?
Okay.
Yeah. Brad, you go first.
You're the
All right,
pastor.
I'll go first.
Explain.
Sex is a gift from God. It's a design and a plan that he has laid out for a man and a woman who are married to be in a relationship. So it's both an emotional bond and a physical bond. And whenever you remove the emotional bond of it, that intimacy from it, it's just an action, and it doesn't mean as much.
If you remove the idea that it's between two people and it's for two people and it's not just for yourself, then you're just always seeking a means to an end. This is not hard.
No, there's really nothing controversial about this at all. You're right, Brad. When you remove emotions from it, I'm trying to use the right language.
Yeah. Talk like you're in the car with your kids.
Oh, no. I don't even know how to do that.
Hey, kids, you see that bus over there?
Look, there's a reason when we go into the supermarket.
When two people love each other.
Yeah.
In the supermarket?
Yeah. I was just trying to think of what
his life is way different than mine.
What the heck, Ryan? Where are you going to the supermarket? What are you doing?
There's a reason why I decided to throw this in here in a short segment.
We knew we had a
that way,
quick off-ramp.
If it didn't go well, we're
There
just
we
like,
go.
and let's go to a break.
There we go.
MidwestWingFest.com. Get your tickets to the
Let's
VIP
talk about
event.
what we're doing this weekend. I mean, wait, we already are.
I mean, it's just we talk on the show all the time about. Lately, I've been talking a lot about how absolutely self-centered everything is. This is no different. And for a super secular world that looks at all of these things and would look at people who, in the headlines phrase, devout religious followers have better intimate lives, and then it says it's a shocking study this revealed this. Then this is just one more indication that this thing that exists in the idea, in the reality of somebody whose faith is at the center of what they're doing, their religious faith. It doesn't say what kind of religious faith either here. So, I mean, to imply that this is some like Christian Bible thumping, you can hear that, but if you hear that, that's a you thing. That's not a me thing. This is from the New York Post. To suggest that people who have faith, who value not the act, but the relationship, then that means that there's something selfless about it. So duh. No?
Yes, exactly.
Go back to the supermarket.
Well, okay, so what Brad said was that it's something that if you're just seeking it for selfish gain, because there is selfish gain in it, obviously, but if that's the reason you're seeking it, and then you are just using that person. And here's the other thing I think that we don't talk about enough. When you start to do that, you start to view all people as how can I use them?
For sure.
And that is what becomes, here's my supermarket connection, just meat. You're just looking at meat. You're just walking around looking at meat.
That's a great callback.
Right? Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll be here until 3 o'clock, roughly.
Maybe not.
Depending on
we'll see if
how
Steve,
the rest of this
Steve
goes and how
turns the
Annie
corner
feels.
and walks through the door here and says, Ryan, come with me.
Oh gosh.
I think it is so important to, and I keep going back to this, and I feel compelled to do it, but in a world where, like, even the suggestion of abstinence, the idea of not having sex with anyone until you're married to them, is a ludicrous idea to the majority of people who have the opportunity to say things publicly. Go for it. Abstinence. I mean, like, consider it. Why would we not throw that out there as part of the conversation? It is an option. It's an option. And it's not a crazy option. And the suggestion that it is the only option and that if that hasn't been your choice, that means, fire and brimstone. Not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that the value of this thing that is thrust in our face all the time to sell us things that are told to make us happy, that really the thing that makes you happy comes before that. And that action is what comes after.
We have
selflessness.
We have put intimacy, I'll use the word, on such a pedestal.
I like the confidence with which you say intimacy.
I'm thinking about my kids. What am I saying here? I gotta explain. Let's walk into the supermarket. We put that on such a pedestal that it really, for a lot of people, is the epitome of existence.
Mm-hmm.
That is the greatest thing you could possibly do, is that thing. And we have gotten so far away from the understanding of other greater things than that, because it's so carnal, it's so like common. And that to make that the greatest goal of your life, of course you're going to be depressed.
Yeah. It's our New York Post. Not shocking. Thanks, John Mayer, for talking about getting stoned.
Great intro music.
Devout religious followers have better intimate lives. Shocking study. Yeah, I don't think that's so surprising, New York Post. Let us know what you think. You can comment on the YouTube live chat and go vote. Is the Biden administration trying to make the midterm election about MAGA and Trump to turn out more people in the midterm?
2022 is zipping by quickly, and if you haven't taken care of that big exterior painting job for your home or business, CertaPro Painters can help. I've depended on CertaPro for all my painting needs for more than a decade now. They talk about something called the power of pro. That's the power of timeliness, the power of doing it right, the power of minimal disruption. They work to make sure it's a smooth project from start to finish. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro Painters, the power of pro. Check out CertaPro.com today.
Attention veterans. If you were stationed at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you and your family may be victims of toxic water poisoning. Cancers, birth defects, deadly illnesses have all been linked to the contaminated water. Congress is now holding the government accountable. You could be awarded financial compensation for your suffering, but you must act now. Get your free case review. Call True Law at 877-560-8555, 877-560-8555, or visit sickvets.com. That's sickvets.com.
Hurry up and go to hairsaloon.com and make your appointment for this weekend to get your hair cut. If you haven't had the hair salon experience yet, you are missing out, but don't worry about it. You can go on and schedule an appointment at one of their 16 area locations on both sides of the river. You can find Hair Saloon. They believe that men deserve better, and that comes with a level of treatment that you are not going to get other places when you gentlemen go to get your hair cut around St. Louis. You're going to get a hot towel treatment, a complimentary shoe shine, a perfect haircut every time, hot towel, mint, the whole 9 yards. And when you go in there and you experience the Hair Saloon experience, you're going to understand why this area of treatment, of celebrating the idea of being men and looking your best and being able to rely on the wonderful people at Hair Saloon to make you look your best every time, why it is so valuable. Your ability right there on the website to make an appointment, to find all of the different locations across St. Louis. Find it online at hairsaloon.com.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The
The president sounds the alarm. Elisa Brady, Fox News. Just over 2 months to the midterm elections, he'll give a speech tonight returning to a familiar theme, a fight for the soul of America.
Independence Hall will serve as the background for President Biden's primetime address, the building where the nation's founders debated and signed the Declaration of Independence. Tonight's speech is expected to lay out the president's views on what he calls the ultra-MAGA wing of the Republican Party and the threats it represents to the rule of law. Last month in Maryland, President Biden described the MAGA movement as semi-fascist. In Philadelphia, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy says the president doesn't understand the soul of America. He'll give a pre-buttal to the speech. No decision today from a federal judge in Florida on the former president's request for a third-party review of documents taken from his Florida estate during an FBI raid in August. The Justice Department investigating Trump's handling of classified documents argues he lacks standing to make oversight demands because the documents belong to the government. The judge has just deferred a ruling, and the Trump team still has time to respond to a Justice Department ruling from last night. A deadly stabbing at a high school in North Carolina where a student is in custody.
Jacksonville, North Carolina police say a number of students witnessed the attack. Police Chief Mike Yanero said at Northside High School an altercation in a common area led to 2 students being stabbed. A school resource officer responded within seconds.
He was able to take somebody into custody. Staff on the scene provided medical care to the 2 victims until EMS arrived.
One of the students died. A teacher was also hurt but not stabbed. Investigators plan to talk to witnesses to help determine a motive.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Northside High will have virtual classes tomorrow and counselors on hand next week. America's listening to Fox News.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
When a nasty cold keeps you up all night, Vicks NyQuil Severe gives you powerful relief from your worst cold and flu symptoms, which changes a night that sounds like this into a night that sounds more like this. Ah, that's better. NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, stuffy head, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's another good-looking Thursday of weather across St. Louis. Plenty of sunshine. What a nice start again. 88 will do it for the high this afternoon. Humidity levels still okay. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Evening temperatures dropping out of the 80s, but it's a slow drop. 65 for the overnight low. And Friday, partly to mostly sunny skies. 89, 90 for the high Friday. Same story on Saturday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show.
TYRUS is actually here in the studio with us.
That's one of the things that I love about this show is it's about as down to earth and common sense as you can get. And I think that's why it's been such a connection for me.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
Look forward to every week because it's not just someone who's trying to get a talking point out. That's one of the things that I really like about your show across the board, not just when I'm on, but when you guys talk, you actually have the conversation.
The Annie Frey Show.
I've never felt like you guys had a narrative.
On 97.1 FM Talk.
IGotFloor.com is the website to see what Michael's Flooring Outlet is, what they got going on right now. You go to the website, you can learn about their best waterproof flooring. I think it's a really cool thing, the way flooring has evolved over time to be able to have the look that you want, the feel that you want, and still be able to have those dogs, the cats, whatever it is, kids that are spilling stuff all the time. Speak from experience, and still have that nice looking floor that you have been seeking out. Go to Michael's Flooring Outlet to find out what you are looking for and how you can make it fit your budget. They are fantastic when it comes to knowing the top of the line products that are available to you. Also being able to get you the look you want, maybe for a different price. If you're looking for an opportunity to save some money, they'll have options for you there as well. Michael's Flooring Outlet has 3 locations in the St. Louis area. You can go online and you can find out their hours. You can find out the addresses to their locations as well. And you can also request an estimate. Simple as can be. Just go online to IGotFloor.com.
The legendary RK Gun Shows are this weekend at the St. Charles Convention Center. Bring your family, rain or shine, Saturday 9 to 5, Sunday 9 to 3. We have everything for the lovers of the right to bear arms. RK Gun Shows, proud supporters of the Second Amendment.
This is a great time of the year to upgrade the energy efficiency in your home with my friends at Window World. Mark Cox here to tell you more about my experience with Window World. They replaced a couple of windows at my house. They were just panes of glass. We wanted to be able to get some airflow into the master bathroom. They came out, they gave us a free estimate, and then had the windows at seams installed in no time. Very professional, lifetime warranty I get, and you get an extra double strength glass on their replacement windows that's not common. So you're getting a great price, simply the best for less. They do front entry doors, rear entry doors if you're looking to replace that back door or sliding glass door in your home. They've got a great selection at Window World. They're also right now offering 18 months, same as cash financing, of course, with approved credit. The preferred window of the St. Louis Blues, 314-993-1800, windowworld.com.
When it comes to hiring, you don't need to be doing all the searching, screening, and interviewing yourself. What you need is Indeed, the end-to-end solution that makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire quality candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Keeping you connected and aware. In the world, the country, and the community. And offering more ways than ever to listen conveniently. Tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 FM Talk or download the Odyssey app.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We are glad that you are here with us. A reminder, you can listen to us on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Download it. You can follow 97.1 FM Talk. Subscribe to the Annie Frey Show podcast there. I want to talk a little bit about Gutfeld. We've discussed the idea of going into the midterm race here, the good guy versus the bad guy. That's what the 2020 presidential election was. You're supposed to support the good guy, and if you supported the bad guy, you kind of knew that you were supporting the predetermined bad guy, and you were cool with it. Is that where we're headed right now with this midterm election? On the YouTube live chat, we have a poll up right now. If the Biden administration is trying to make the midterm election about MAGA and Trump, do you believe that the Democrat turnout will increase? Go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and vote there and let us know in the comments what you think. Listen to Greg Gutfeld.
With his logic, we should give up all of our rights, all of our protections, because they're no match for government force, right? It's kind of a sick boast. If it's not semi-fascist, it's full-on fascist. Who knew that Joe would become a wartime president? But he's waging war on people in the country.
That's true. If you're paying attention to what the president is saying currently, his attacks are on the people of this country. He's not out protecting the people who are in this country. He's not out keeping our country a sovereign nation with sovereign borders. He's not out trying to look out for the kids that are struggling right now in our school system. It's statistical now.
Absenteeism, lost instruction time, all contributing factors in the nationwide plunge in academic levels from virtual learning during the pandemic.
I've never seen anything like the drop in test scores associated with the pandemic.
School boards and superintendents across the country forced to make the tough decision to close schools in hopes of stopping the spread of COVID among children and teachers, but at what cost? According to a study by the Harvard Center for Education Policy and the educational assessment nonprofit NWEA, students who were remote at schools with low poverty lost the equivalent of 13 weeks of in-person instruction. Students at high poverty schools that stayed remote lost the equivalent of 22 weeks. The average student in districts that opened quicker lost the equivalent of about 7 to 10 weeks of in-person instruction. Officials say the achievement loss is greater than most educators and parents realize.
So that's a report from News Nation, and they're basically telling us that the kids are not okay. That we're in a situation now in our country where COVID, the chickens are coming home to roost here. We took drastic measures, kept people at home, kept kids at home, made them wear masks when they went back to school, segregated them from other kids themselves. They've lost their time to socialize at young, impressionable ages. They've lost time and instruction in the classrooms. And the whole time, all we were ever worried about is the teachers and teachers unions and making sure that we accommodate what they say. So much so that the teachers unions had direct impact on CDC guidance on how we were going to behave as Americans in the wake of this pandemic. But wait, there's more problem.
Well, I think it's one of the reasons that they don't go, right? Why the president has never been to the border, why the vice president doesn't go to the border. Because if they do go, they're going to see what I saw firsthand. In fact, part of our delegation got video of the fence. The smugglers brought ladders up to the fence. We saw people scale the ladders, climb up the ladders, scale the fence, jump over, and then the smugglers remove them. This was during the middle of the day. I think we saw this at like 10 a.m. or something. So in the broad daylight, right? It's not like this happened at night, watching people jump over. So you started off by saying, what the press secretary said, it's not like people just walk over. Well, actually, they do.
Morgan Ortega is talking about the problems surrounding our country, the potential for a lack of security that exists on our southern border. The thing that defines us as Americans literally is a line that says, these people are Americans, these people are Mexicans, or not Americans on this side. If their country of origin is on this side of the line, they're not Americans. That's what that southern border is to define. If people want to come across that line and make a commitment to the United States of America to become Americans, we have a process for that. But it comes even closer to home because crime is so ridiculous that even the mayor of New York is identifying.
I said it over and over again. There are many rivers that feed to sea of violence, not only gun violence, but violence and disorder. And one of the rivers we must dam is our criminal justice systems and the various components of it. And it's including, I think we need to tweak, not take away those criminal justice reforms that I fought for as a state senator and as a police officer.
In the state of Illinois, if J.B. Pritzker gets elected, they're going to eliminate cash bail. This is the direction that the country is going, and it makes no sense. It's completely antithetical to what you would want to, where you would want to raise a family in a safe and secure environment where you value the rule of law, you respect the rule of law, and outside of that, you pretty much just want to be left alone. You want to be able to live in a country where you're not dictated to your government what you can and can't do, that your opportunity lies in front of you to go out and seize it. You might fail, but you might succeed as well. You want to be able to speak about the things that are important to you and speak on them, even if it's dissenting to the government that is, elected to represent you. And you want to be able to protect yourself. These are the things that are important to Americans right now. And it's very, very hard to identify places in this country that are successfully implementing the liberty and freedom that Americans are supposed to love without great pressure from the federal government infringing.
With his logic, we should give up all of our rights, all of our protections, because they're no match for government force, right? It's kind of a sick boast. If it's not semi-fascist, it's full-on fascist. Who knew that Joe would become a wartime president? But he's waging war on people in the country.
So going back to what Greg Gutfeld said the first time here, it's kind of crazy to think about the direction this country is heading when the people who are in charge are accusing the people who don't have power of doing the very thing that they're doing. We have real problems facing this country right now, and we're not addressing them. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, that is exactly what we're seeing is whenever you see the White House or really Democrats in power, I'm not saying everyday Democrats, but those in power, making claims about fascism and even sometimes racism and any of the isms, many, many times. In fact, I'd say more often than not, they're projecting what they're doing onto their enemies because they know, well, that's what we're doing, so we have to paint the other side as doing that. Otherwise, people
obvious.
won't see that we're doing it.
Yeah. I think you're so right because you stop and you look and you feel gaslit.
Yeah, and you feel hopeless because you think, is nobody else seeing this? I can see what they're doing. am I crazy? Because the powers that be, this is where the media really would help. And this is why I think a lot of people tune in and listen to us, because they go, man, I'm glad to hear I'm not crazy. If there was a narrative out there that was pushing back on this, a popular narrative that was saying just even common sense stuff, people go, oh man, I'm not crazy then. I'm not, what I feel is not way off.
Because the media is supposed to advocate for the people. The only way to keep the government in check and to make sure that they don't have the ability to overpower a free American people, the only way to ensure that is to know that if they are going to go in dark corners to have private conversations that are on behalf, the cost of an American individual's freedom, that it's going to be exposed. And it doesn't matter who you are and what side you're trying to, lead tyrannically into a government state of control, which is what fascism is. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. If you are trying to possess the freedom that currently resides with the American people and relocate it to the government to provide for the American people the freedoms, liberties, and securities that you permit them to have, those aren't freedoms at all.
Yeah, you walked through quite a few issues there with clips. One of it, overall, though, there's a theme here, and that's that one of them, COVID accelerated a lot of these things.
Yeah, for sure.
We were, and I would say even Donald Trump to some extent accelerated a lot of these things. They existed, but it took these crazy circumstances and these big personalities to kind of draw all this stuff out of people who already believed it. But it's like it hooked them in and it reeled them in and it exposed them for what they are.
Well, yeah, and I think that like Donald Trump gets a lot of like people are like, oh, he's so divisive and he's turned the people against the media. And it's like, I don't know that he turned the people against the media. I think that the people were already looking at the media like this is very slanted. And then Donald Trump came out and said, hey, this is slanted. And everybody who supported him went, yeah, that's what I've been thinking the whole time. So like you were saying, he's accelerated it.
Yeah. And Annie, you were talking about schools. I mean, that was one of the few issues you just brought up. Schools and the fact that we've lost so much in the last couple of years. That all of this stuff, the bar just keeps getting lower. And it wasn't just over the last couple of years. It was that it accelerated over the last couple of years. School being one of those, that the bar for what is acceptable is just lower and lower than it used to be.
Well, one of the things in Illinois is that if we went to remote learning and we had these students, you could not fail the student for not completing. So there was no incentive for the student to continue to work. So what's going to happen?
Kids were not allowed to have a grade worse than what they were having before they went home.
Right.
Their grade could not decrease.
It was just artificially there. And so kids said, well, I'm going to get the B anyway, or the ones that had A's, I'm going to get the A anyway. Why should I put any effort toward this? And so then whenever they get back to school, my wife noticed this. I don't know if your husband has noticed this, but whenever they got back into school, the kids just weren't in that mindset. They weren't doing it. And now it's showing itself in learning drop-offs.
I think it's interesting. I'm going to read this comment here from Pie Hat Matt on our YouTube channel.
Love the name.
He said, the white nationalists declared war on us long before Joe mentioned F-15s. So a simple question back to him is, what white nationalists do you know? Because that's kind of a like a narrative that is easy to fall on, which I understand, Pie Hat Matt, that you would think that because the Department of Homeland Security said the greatest threat to our country right now is white nationalists. Forget about fentanyl. Forget about the people who have a vested interest in pushing fentanyl into our country. I mean, when you dig deep into the first of all, just the surface level effects of fentanyl and how it is killing and who it is killing in our country. But then you're like, where's the fentanyl coming from? How is it getting into the country? How is it getting to the people who are getting into the country? What interest would the people who are giving it to the people who are getting it into our country to kill the people it's killing? What interest would those people have in upsetting our country? And you start asking those questions and you get answers and you go, oh, this is a big freaking deal. But no, let's go back, Pie Hat Matt, to the white nationalist question. What white nationalists do you know? Because he said personally, his response here is personally, none, fortunately, but I saw them on January 6th. I saw the nutcase who attacked the FBI building. You can see something with your own eyes And that can be, if that is your, I don't really know who's the nutcase that attacked the FBI building. I don't know.
I don't even know what that's
about. So I'm not even going to like say that that's not true. But to suggest that there is a white nationalist problem in the United States of America that is worthy of the president of the United States' attention, to use that as a way to say that Second Amendment rights in the Bill of Rights, that there are Second Amendment rights should be in check because this problem is so pervasive, is so incredibly delusional. No offense, Pie Hat Matt, but I mean like delusional. What are you talking about? And I ask you, your fear is of these white nationalists that are attacking our country. And I ask you what white nationalists you know. You don't know any.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, there's a follow-up here, Charlottesville. If we're going down the line of Charlottesville was it 2017?
That sounds about right.
What if we're talking about the Charlottesville chaos and situation that was a black mark on our country's history? And you got to go back to then when there are 300 people a day that are dying from fentanyl that's trafficked into our country. 300 people a day are being killed by a nefarious drug that's working its way into the American everyday existence to the point that we don't even pay attention to it. But no, let's stop and listen to the freaking Department of Homeland Security that is so politicized, that wants to make sure that people like Pie Hat Matt are on my YouTube channel right now, reminding everybody of the troubles that we have in this country of white nationalism. Get the hell out of here with this delusional mentality. Is white nationalism a problem? Where it exists, you're damn right it's a problem. When white nationalism is present, that is a problem. But it's not capital T, capital P, the problem that we should be dedicating all of our time and resources to, suggesting that it's pervasive in every corner of our existence. It's not. Good on America. High fives all around. High fives for not knowing white nationalists, and instead of the high fives, when you do know not white nationalists, punch them in the face. I don't care. These are bad people, and bad people should be called out for being bad people. But to suggest that America needs to about face for this virus of a problem that we have of white nationalism is so, you've been duped. Like, it's embarrassing. Stop it. I'm spitting.
I was trying to think of the last time it was in the news, which hasn't really been recently, but other than the DOJ always talking about it. The last time I can remember it being in the news, remember in last year when Terry McAuliffe was running against Glenn Youngkin in Virginia, and all these white nationalists showed up to protest against Terry McAuliffe. They were liberals dressed up. They were fake.
They were McAuliffe.
Plants.
Campaign staffers. That kind of stuff is what we're talking about. That you are being used. Like, these people are using this narrative over and over to push it and make you feel a way.
And it's really, it's really embarrassing to be that guy. Don't be that guy.
And the thing that's so frustrating is they use it because it works.
It absolutely does.
Which is why I'm saying it doesn't work here anymore. That's why I'm like coming out of my skin on this.
But this is where we kind of started with the whole fascist label. You start by calling David Duke a white nationalist in the KKK, and then it becomes wider and wider to expand to become basically anything I don't like is a racist or a white nationalist or now a fascist, to where it really doesn't mean anything anymore. And I think most people recognize that. They don't like the label, but they're getting over the idea that this is somehow a killer, because everybody knows, look, it doesn't matter what I do. I'm going to be labeled something that you don't like because you just don't like me. You don't like anything I stand for.
Pie Hat Matt follows up and says, my grandma always said, when you get angry, you've lost the argument.
You lose.
Your grandma's wrong.
Oh,
I don't care. Your grandma's wrong. You've lost the argument when you've lost the argument. And Annie, you won that argument.
I just want to say that I'm like not usually angry, but sometimes stupid makes me mad. So I am here and I lose. I concede to you, Pie Hat Matt. You win.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back here after this break, though, and talk on my radio show. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
More than I could handle, the life that I can't live. You want it.
More people are landing on 97.1 FM Talk every day.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's St. Louis's radio destination for information with perspective.
That's the only station I listen to.
97.1 FM Talk, the place for ideas.
Slim 180 is who helped me lose weight after the baby, after COVID. I wanted to get back into the clothes in my closet that I didn't want to try on because it didn't fit me well. I use the HCG program there, but they have multiple programs that you can look into and great ways to save as well. Maybe pennies are being pinched right now in your home, but I want you to think about how you will feel down the road after you've shed the weight. With the HCG diet, I lost 22 pounds in less than a month. You can do the same with Slim 180, maybe even have better results than I did, of course. I want you to consider it. If you need to lose a little bit of weight, if you want to lose a lot of weight, it's not the HCG diet specifically, the one that I really love. It works so fast. And think about this. 30 days, 60 days from now, think about taking pictures with your family, with your loved ones at Christmas time and seeing yourself in the pictures and being thrilled. Start the process right now. All the details online at myslim180.com.
I'm Listening reminds you that you are not alone and that talk saves lives. There's a new national hotline for mental health-related distress, 988. When you call or text 988 from any phone, you will be connected directly with trained counselors in over 200 crisis centers nationwide. They can get you the help you need anytime, anywhere. 988, the new National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Talk saves lives. And with 988, talking is only 3 digits away. Find out more at imlistening.org.
Hi, Mark Goldstein here for Edwards Carpet. Times are tough, we're making less, and you're still paying more. So if you need new flooring, now is the time. Take advantage of our Labor Day sale. Carpet starting at $349, completely installed with pad, including take-up of old carpet and furniture moving. For this sale, everything's on sale. You can take advantage of our 12-month 0% financing, and if that's not enough, you'll pay no tax. Don't miss out, because these days, if you wait, you'll simply pay more. See you soon at Edwards Carpet.
Come on down to Edwards Carpet Store.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
SherryKelly.com.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
So true.
Do you know the words?
I don't know the words. I can't sing this.
Just the.
I just know.
Yeah, we missed the.
We missed
the part.
it. That's why we are not in music.
Yeah, that's why. That's why. What was I going to say? That's a bad thing to have happen when you're on the radio.
Yeah, what the heck? Song kind of threw us off. Thanks, Hannah.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. That song reminds me of The Wedding Singer. Speaking of movies that I don't know that you can make anymore.
Did that one have stuff? I mean, probably
It's
most of the era did.
Boy George-esque
Is it a
guy.
guy that like is kind of like halfway between genders or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I can't remember. That movie ruined Adam Sandler for me.
I love The Wedding Singer.
I'm sure. Yeah,
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite Adam Sandler.
We are
movies.
at a fork in the road because
They were cones. I think it's so funny.
I'm not saying there were no good jokes in it, and really most of his movies past Happy Gilmore did have some good jokes, but Billy Madison blew my 14-year-old mind.
You've said that on the show like 7 times.
It did, and then Happy Gilmore was great too.
You just were on the summit too soon.
Nah, I think I was right on it, and I think you were wrong.
I don't like Billy Madison's funny, but
oh my gosh,
There's some really bad Adam Sandler movies. I don't think Wedding
Yes.
Singer is one of them.
There are Little Nicky.
Oh,
for
man,
instance,
that one is terrible.
I don't like The Waterboy.
I'm not a huge Waterboy fan
I like
either.
The Waterboy.
I can't handle a whole movie of the Adam Sandler voice. Like when,
Yeah.
when he's doing
Yeah.
a character like that, I can't. I don't think you could do The Waterboy.
Have you seen Click? Because that one was also pretty
I
bad.
think I saw that and was angry at the end.
Yeah. What was the end?
No, I don't remember. No, what's the one that he did that was? It's like one word, but it's like a sad movie.
Oh yeah. That was just made recently. Uncut Gems. That one?
No.
Oh man, that was
no.
pretty good. That had a good ending too.
I'm talking about. Like,
That wasn't a comedy movie at all.
no,
Click had a sad ending, I think.
I don't think I'm thinking.
You know
about
who was
Click.
in that movie? Christopher Walken.
I was just gonna say you were talking like Christopher Walken.
He fixes the remote. He says, "Here, use this wisely, Adam."
Oh my gosh, he's made so many movies.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's
I'm
got
on
a
his
whole-
IMDb to find out what this is, and like, good grief, dude.
His career is on about lap 4 right now. When Netflix loves him, they'll give him
4.
anything.
4D.
Yeah, he's made. Man, he's made a ton of
Blended
movies.
with what's her face?
Drew Barrymore
Is a great movie.
Is it? I don't
Terry
think I've ever
Crews
seen
is
it.
in that.
Oh, Terry
That
Crews
is
is
the perfect. I'm sick at home, and there's a movie on TV, and you're like, yeah, okay. And you lay there because you got nothing else to do, and you watch it, and you're like, I love this movie.
Oh,
No.
no. Any movie that I know exactly how it's going to go.
Spanglish?
I was getting ready to say Spanglish is one. Not that I was saying that was one of them, but that was one of his less known movies.
Punch Drunk Love.
That was actually pretty good.
Oh no!
I liked it.
Isn't that sad?
It is sad. Yeah, I don't remember much about it. I remember watching it and thinking this is not a comedic Adam Sandler movie, and yet it was pretty good.
I remember being aggressively dejected at the end of that movie. Like, why did I do this? This was a bad decision.
Annie, that's how I felt about The Wedding Singer.
It's okay. You can be wrong. I love Big Daddy.
I get a lot of people liked Wedding Singer because they kind of transitioned from being this early stuff into his mainstream stuff. It was very mainstream, is what I'm saying.
Do you know what his first credited role was?
Yeah,
It's
it
on
was a boat movie. It was like Overboard or something.
That's the second, Going Overboard. He was on an incredibly famous and successful television show.
Cosby Show.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Did
he
you know
played
that?
the friend.
Smitty.
I couldn't remember his name, but he played Theo's friend.
Smitty.
That's that guy, Smitty.
That's wild.
I wanted to say you remember the character's name who was the friend of Kirk Cameron on Growing Pains?
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of people screaming at the radio right now. You want to go ahead?
I'm not going to say it on
I
the
only
radio.
listened to the second half of that sentence, but what is it? I'm sorry, I was reading comments. G-Whip says a little Adam Sandler goes a long way, and I think that's the most true statement. I love Adam Sandler, but
His
it's got
friend,
to be the right one.
Kirk Cameron's best friend on Growing Pains.
I don't know who that
His
is.
name was Boner.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what came to mind when you said Cosby Show. I'm like, yeah, his name wasn't Boner,
Oh, man.
but it should have been. Everybody's friend in the 80s should have been named Boner.
Gosh, Ryan.
Where you want to go from here?
I don't know. You want to talk about the FBI or?
YouTube live chat poll.
There you
if
go.
the Biden administration is trying to make the midterm election about MAGA and Trump, do you believe Democrat turnout will increase? You can go to the Andy Frey YouTube channel and vote. What do you think, Ryan?
I do think Democrat vote will increase. I think it's ticking up. I don't think it's enough to overcome a good Republican year.
I'm going to look at this. I'm going to say no, but maybe I'm not understanding what.
So hold on a second. Ryan, do you believe Democrat turnout will increase? Yes.
From right here? Yes.
No, from back there.
From back there?
When
No.
will then be now? Soon.
You talking about 2018? You talking about last month? I don't know what you're doing.
I'm
Yes.
talking about at 2:35. If the president continues, right now, the press briefing, it says White House briefs as Biden slams, quote, extreme MAGA agenda. It's very obvious to me that this administration is working very hard to make Donald Trump the center of the midterm election, to remind everybody who voted for Biden in 2020 why they voted for Biden, because of big, bad, scary orange man bad. And if people remember that 68 days from the midterm election, maybe they will actually show up and cast a ballot against something as opposed to for whatever the Biden administration. So the question is, if the Biden administration is trying to make the midterm election about MAGA and Trump, do you believe Democrat turnout will increase?
Yes, but I think that's already happened. So I think we're at the high water mark right now.
For
Dems, if they stay here, then we will have seen an increase over the last couple months. But I also think that what we're going to see is a little bit of a lull for Republican enthusiasm, and that will be increasing between now and November. So
the lull will increase?
No, the
Good grief.
they lag you out. The turnout and
do you
enthusiasm.
think that the lull will increase? Yes or no?
No, I think Republican enthusiasm is troughed a little bit right now, and Dem enthusiasm is up a little bit right now. But I do think, though, that this is a pretty normal cycle, and you're going to see that return to the mean, which means that you're going to have another good Republican.
I'm looking at it, and I think this isn't going to sway Democrats. I think Democrats are on board with Biden. I don't know what calling Republicans would do to make them more on board with Biden, but where I do see this taking an effect, so this is why I would vote no, is it's going to have an effect on the independents. You mentioned earlier in your opening monologue that Ben Shapiro said that whenever confronted with Trump, independents break 3-1 toward Democrats. So they need to get those voters, because those are the voters that sway elections. Those are the votes that they need. So I think it will help their cause, but I don't think it's going to be helping by increasing enthusiasm with Democrats.
But you think that would help Democrat votes turn out?
I think it would, get votes for Democrats, but
okay.
I don't.
I think that's a yes vote,
okay.
But I understand why you're saying it's a no
Yeah.
vote. You're not. Yeah, I can see how you could read that in both ways. Go to the Andy Frey YouTube channel and you can see the poll right there in the live chat section. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can set it so that the notifications are on, so you'll get a notification when we go live. You can hang out with us each and every day. I think I'm going to throw back a little bit to TYRUS's conversation. You were talking about that off the air, about TYRUS commenting about how hydrated he was here. But it's fun to hear him talk about how much fun we have here, that his observation of being in St. Louis and seeing if he can come work in radio in St. Louis, that'd be a good day. A lot of that has to do with how much social media we're doing on a regular basis here, being able to hear from people who are with us, against us, and having that like constant feed of commentary right here on our YouTube channel. I mean, we all read this stuff all the time.
Yeah, we all read it. It's been fun too over the last couple of weeks, because obviously we've had a couple of weeks where we were doing stuff that's a little bit out of the usual for us, doing live shows and going to things. And even Friday, tomorrow, we're going to another event, and so we appreciate meeting people. And but yeah, one of the best ways to do that, because we all look at it, even if I don't see 100% of the comments, I think between us we're all seeing everything. Commenting on the YouTube page and just interacting, because you hear from the show that we read them, we read the comments. I mean, we just did a whole segment a minute ago that there was a pushback on somebody's comments about what we were saying. So it's a great way to interact if you're listening.
I thought it would also be a good moment to point out that we did not get to 4,000 subscriptions before August 28th. So the Ryan Wiggins attack ad on me that was never to be heard, I guess, just goes into the vault.
That will go into the vault and be locked up forever.
Here's the thing. You guys have teased the people now, and you're in showbiz. So you know that you got to deliver.
How come you're talking? Is this the TV showbiz version of you coming out? Why are you talking like that?
Yeah. I'm trying to, in showbiz, what you do is you kind of let things hang out there. You let people fill in the gaps for you. I don't even know I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yes.
What I'm trying to do is somehow bring this back around
1000%.
to I made this thing in March that you teased the people with that does exist.
I challenged them. They didn't meet the challenge.
Gave them the option to prove that they wanted it.
What you just did, though, is that you said, I have this goal. I will let you see something behind the scenes if you achieve it. You are all failures. I'm not going to let you see it. I think that's a showbiz misstep.
No, I don't. I think what I was saying is like you could correlate it to maybe like student loans. You take out a loan, you say you're going to pay it back, and you should pay it back. If I were to just like give them the thing without making them earn it, then they wouldn't appreciate it.
I just think you should set the bar.
What I was doing was the conservative thing, and I don't really appreciate your socialism here.
No, that's no, that's not at all. Brad, support me here.
Make a good point. Maybe I will.
Just said we're in showbiz and we like to let it all hang out there and let people fill in the blanks.
Here's my thoughts on it, Ryan. If she goes ahead and she plays that ad when they didn't reach that, then she will never be able to tempt them with that again, because then they just know she'll just do it anyway.
Which is what showbiz.
I was just talking about how we interact with people and we read comments. I'm going to read Josh's real quick. Says, agree with Ryan. Now, here's the problem. All of us have access to those comments. And the minute I put it up, she put it right back down. Here's what we should do. Set the goal real low.
No.
Right. Just say, come on, let me play it.
Just let me play the thing, Annie. It's funny. People like it.
I don't like it. It's really mean.
It's all at your expense. It's great.
It's not just like a funny attack ad, because I'm going to be honest, folks, the attack ads were my idea. And Ryan went and took it in a place that no man should take something like that.
I'm like Captain Kirk.
No, you're not.
He's like, I boldly went where no man has gone before.
That's right.
Ridiculous.
That's right. It's
You're
not
like Captain Kirk.
I'm like Captain Kirk in a lot of ways.
Only you could take this conversation and at the end conclude that you are Captain freaking Kirk. That's not the natural conclusion.
I'll be Picard if you want. I don't care.
You're more like Boner.
No. Okay, fine. I'll take that. You know what? I'm going to reconsider, and I'll go ahead and be the Boner.
Captain
Boner. I'll be Captain Boner. That's the new Paramount Plus series.
Can we go to break?
Captain Boner.
There's nowhere this can go that's going to keep me on the air. Let's take a break and talk. I'll talk to you in a second about air comfort.
Yes,
and then
you
we'll
will.
Cleanse the palate. Thanks, Corey Malone. We'll be back in a minute. Most of us.
Oh, I want the truth to be said. I know this much is true. I know this much is true. Oh,
This is the Annie Frey Show. The Mark Reardon Show.
Jazz Shaw is with us. The situation with Hunter Biden's laptop. They're looking at Facebook for records of the conversations with the FBI.
Right. Everything we were told by the FBI turned out to be a lie.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Oh, shoot.
I said, oh, dang it.
Whatever.
I said, much is true. Oh, dang it. I missed that note bad.
You sounded like a farm animal that got hurt.
You do this, and then if I find something to not be true, I'll say I know that much is not true.
You're gonna check my air comfort service little spot here.
So if I don't say anything, you'll know it's all true.
314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com. This is how you get in your comfort zone. Your furnace. It is September. It's officially September. You're probably not thinking about your furnace right now. I'm looking at my phone and it doesn't tell me what the temperature is. It was nice outside when I was out there, but the nights, if you look at the long forecast, we're seeing some nights that are dipping into the 50s. You're going to quickly see it's going to get cooler and cooler. You're going to be turning your furnace on before you know it. You want to make sure that you have it in good working order. If it hadn't been working great at the end of the last year, make sure you reach out to Air Comfort Service. Have them come give your furnace a tune-up. 85 degrees right now. It's going to be warm and then it's going to be cold. This is St. Louis. You know this. I know this. You want the best in the business to make sure that your maintenance is done, and it's going to save you those costly repairs in the long run. Air Comfort Service is who we call in the Frey family when we have issues with our HVAC system. It's who I tell my friends and family off the air in the privacy of our own conversations. These are the people you can trust. Corey Malone and Air Comfort Service. They're good people and they're great at what they do. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health From Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health From Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill, or online at healthfromwithinstl.com.
Have you been waiting for the perfect time to get your Missouri medical marijuana card? Today is the day at 420id.com. Dispensaries are open and inventory is in. 420id.com is a BBB accredited business with over 16,000 happy Missouri patients. If we can't approve you, you pay nothing at 420id.com. Open late every day until 9 p.m. Sign up for your Missouri medical marijuana card now at 420id.com and use promo code RADIO for $30 off today.
It will be the summer of joy in Chicago.
Instead, the trio of Pritzker, Lightfoot, and Fox have made this another summer of murder, mayhem, and chaos.
My granddaughter FaceTimed us saying, "Help me, Daddy's shot." And then he threw over him and they executed him in front of her. And then they shot at her.
Thanks to Governor Pritzker, the lawlessness of Chicago will soon be the law statewide. Pritzker's so-called Safety Act makes Illinois a safe haven for violent criminals. That's why 100 of Illinois' 102 county state's attorneys oppose Pritzker's mandatory release of alleged murderers, kidnappers, and arsonists. Prosecutors like Will County State's Attorney Jim Glasgow,
it's going to be literally the end of days.
and prosecutors like DuPage County State's Attorney Bob Berlin.
We are going to have violent criminals out on the street.
Stop Chicago violence from coming to your town. Vote no on J.B. Pritzker. Paid for by people who play by the rules PAC.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their honor flight today at gsLhonorflight.org, and for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Bringing you up-to-the-minute traffic like nobody else. Sue Thomas and dependable traffic, driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
Going out with the spirit in the sky. Gonna go when you die. When you die.
Isn't this an Adam Sandler movie? It's gotta be. It's gotta be. The odds are in his favor.
Yeah. I don't know. No idea.
I wish you guys could have heard his breathing while he was
No, there's so much heavy breathing.
Yeah, and the dancing. That was a really good dance. I made that one up. It's called Point at People.
Were you born this way? Have you always been this guy?
Yeah, I think so.
You know, we've had Mrs. Wiggins on the show. Maybe it's time we get Mr. Wiggins on the show.
Get the original Mrs. Wiggins, my grandma. She would love to. She listens.
There were no Mrs. Wiggins before her.
Nope. Not as far as I know. All of history exists within my lifetime.
What about Mr. Bob Wiggins?
Mr. Bob Wiggins would probably do it, but he would take some serious coaxing. I don't know that he would.
Yeah, I didn't know where that was going.
What did you think was going to happen?
Some serious coaxing.
Yeah. What did you think I was going to say? Please explain. Because I don't
Sound
know.
like you were going to say coke.
Oh, yeah. My dad is deep into the nose candy. And if you want him on this show, you are going to have to really get him going and then put him on a mic. See what happens.
He's
gonna
what
love
we do
this.
with you every day. It's just with regular candy.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
You know what we haven't done for a while?
No, what?
Sugared you up right before the show started.
You know what? Maybe that's what this is today. I had a chai tea right before the show.
Is that your
This is what's
rum
left
chata?
of it. No, it does. It's kind of a lighter tea today, though, isn't it? It does look a little bit like
Let's
horchata.
get to the YouTube.
All right.
Paul.
All right.
Every time Hannah starts to get uncomfortable, she just gets
like,
the show
or
right back
bored.
on
My
track.
safety net is the YouTube poll, guys. Please vote. Come on.
Jimmy says, Wiggins, my dad.
Man, there's no doubt my dad is going to hear about that.
My
Oh,
dad
yes.
is deep into the nose candy.
Even if he's not listening right now, that is getting back to him from somebody.
It's not true.
No, of course it's not true. Well, I don't know. I'll ask him. I've never asked him directly. Dad, are you into Coke? But I will.
Never come up.
This
Ever?
has never come up. He was you know what? He was not around a lot in the 80s. He did a lot of stock trading. So I'm starting to wonder. What? You seen the movies? We always had a lot of mirrors around. I don't know if all this means anything, but I'm going to ask. You don't know until you ask. That's why you do interviews. It's the same reason that I'm going to ask my dad that question.
All right. If okay. If Biden is trying to make a midterm election about MAGA and Trump, will Democrat
There's no
turnout
natural way to
increase?
do this.
Yes or no? This is a really tight poll, guys. Come on.
I think it's because it's confusing.
One more time. If
Yeah, one
Biden
more
is
time.
trying to make the midterm election about MAGA and Trump, will Democrat turnout increase? Yes or no? 53% of the people said no, it will not. 47% said yes. So that's pretty tight on the poll. I started some comments. John from YouTube says Democrat turnout will increase, but not by much. Democrats are all about fear mongering, whatever.
Yeah, we're not
You're
very
mangering.
specific on things.
Biden is making conservatives enemies of the state, whether the policies are right or wrong. Libs stick together. Jimmy says Hannah.
Lipstick?
What?
Nothing. My dad's listening, by the way.
Are you scared? What do you
Yeah, a
say?
little bit.
Confirm or deny?
He says
or neither.
He says no.
Okay.
He did go ahead and confirm that those were just coincidences.
Sorry, Mr. Wiggins.
I am sorry. I am very sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
sorry
grounded.
for a
Yeah.
lot of things, Mr. Wiggins.
All right. Jimmy's comment. Hannah, the Dems are going to drag this Trump investigation leading up to midterms 2024 and after. It will not end until Trump is not on the scene. Our friend G-Wib said Dem turnout will not increase, but the Trump turnout will.
Dang, G-Wib.
Rob B said, I voted no, so as long as Trump does not announce until after the November election.
Can you imagine if Donald Trump announces his run for the presidency in like mid-October?
Ooh.
No, he
Don't
won't do it.
do that.
He won't do it. He won't do it.
Why not?
Because I think he can get more attention by doing it in January. And you know that's why he's waiting.
Okay.
I'm trying to read these comments about the poll, and they're all about your dad being a coach.
That's great. We're going to put these in the old scrapbook
Josh,
for Christmas gift.
Josh from YouTube says, I said yes because that's why Biden won last time. It'll have an effect. Oh, Mike G says, please, President Biden, make it all about MAGA policy and agenda.
Mike G, I think he's a Beastie Boy.
Janine says, I actually wonder if it has the opposite effect on Dem voter turnout, thinking that Trump being dragged publicly means he will have fewer supporters voting in his favor of his candidate.
Do we all agree that Republican turnout is peak level and that's where it's going to be? Or do we think that there's going to, you said before maybe that
enthusiasm is
lull
just a
increases?
tiny bit down. Yeah, but it'll go back up. It will go back up before November. The question is where Dem enthusiasm will be.
68 days till the election. We're probably, what you think, 4? I'll set the over under at 3.5. Massive news stories that take the car that's heading straight down the highway to election day and jerks it to far to the right and then far to the left and far to the right and far to the left.
I guess it depends on what you would determine to be a major news story. Because the FBI raid, that would be one. But them signing a bill like the climate change bill, would that be one in your opinion?
I don't know if it would. I mean, it's kind of more boring. It's a big deal.
It is.
It's like the stuff that's the government stuff we should be talking about.
Right.
But I'm thinking more about massive developments. The stuff that comes out of Mar-a-Lago, Adam Schiff has already done this multiple times before. The things that I've seen, when you see them, you're going to understand that the there is there. That we're going to hear that. We're going to get that out of this story specifically. Big, salacious, headline stealing, news cycle capturing events between now and November that are going to influence people's current persuasion on motivation. I don't think people could be persuaded to vote for the other side anymore at this point. But I think deciding to show up and saying, fine, I'll vote against the other guy, which is really, I think the show up, the turnout. I think that there's a lot of big stories left to have.
Over under on threes.
3.5.
3.5 is Tanta. I'm going to go under. I'm going to say over.
I'll stick with 3.
She's a friend to everyone.
I think it's going to be over.
Okay. We'll have to count them. Let's
I
see
hope we
between
can
now
count
and
to
then.
4.
That would be one every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's easy.
Yeah, maybe.
Man.
Wow.
I would, we have a podcast, but maybe just skip this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Bob, skip this one.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Yes, it
We
is.
got that going for us.
X's and O's.
X's and O's, another X's and O's, enjoying the Hollywood Squares game that recaps the news of the week. We always do that on Fridays, and we like to have a good time and still cover the information as it's coming to us, and we share it with you. We are always grateful that you are here with us. We do have a podcast. You can subscribe to it, and you can go find us on YouTube. Subscribe there as well. Mark Reardon next.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of